Citizens of the Grateful Nation, you are here for another episode and possibly the last solo episode of Gina and I before we move to censored.tv. Possibly the last one. I don't know. Right. Could be. But thank you for being here as per usual. We really do appreciate you. Coming up, we're throttled. I'm not even going to tell you to like and subscribe, but if you want the graphics up there, boop, it's popping up and down. We have our God is Great Christian panel of theology happening this Saturday in Nashville. If you need to buy tickets, there's a link in the description. Can't buy tickets at the door, so don't try it. I'll probably have to accommodate some people who've showed up and not being able to buy tickets. But that's going to be this weekend. We're really, really, really excited about it. Let's pay some bills. Here we go. Sonoran Defense Technology, SonoranDefense.com, your number one place for Glock stippling and accessories. Go to SonoranDefense.com. Use code IDG10 to get 10% off at checkout. But seriously, I'm getting my gun back from these guys probably pretty soon. They have a long queue. They put me in the queue. I don't know where I am, but maybe they've bumped me up. Who knows? I'm not special. But, I'll show it to you guys when it's done. It's going to look really, really cool. I'm getting this hybrid design. Look at how cool that is. Look at it in this guy's hand. Look at that hand.
Sexy.
It's a nice hand. Same gun. It's Glock 19. Mine is a Gen 3, though, not a Gen 5. Here we go. Nimmy Skincare. Guys, Nimmy Skincare. I mean, who knows at this point? There's a code down there, and if you use it, we get commission. So if you like your skin, and if you want to take care of it, skincare, and you also want to help keep the show afloat, just buy their stuff. We really can't tell you too much about it just yet.
Yeah, darling.
Yeah. Van Man. Go to Van Man. Get some products. I honestly don't think Van Man is even aware that he has given us a sponsorship, though he has. He's given us money to talk about his company, and I now use his products. I am a frequent user of the tooth powder and of the mouthwash. It makes your teeth, it's not like chemical whitening or anything like that, but it makes your teeth feel smooth and feel clean, especially the mouthwash cleans it out. The powder kind of it does not taste good. It's not for taste, and you can't brush your teeth really hard with it. It's just kind of like massaging. And it gets rid of all that stuff that's on your teeth. Yeah, the gunk. So go to vanman.shop and give them guys some... Oh, look at this. The tallow, the bison tallow and honey balm is sold out. Wow. Good for them. Good for Van Man. We'll hit him up next quarter and see if he wants to continue this relationship. Vanman.shop. Also, guys, finally, go to I'm Doing Merch. Oh, look, I didn't even go to the website. Go to I'm Doing Merch. Click the Shop Now button. Listen, the Equality is a False God hoodie is back up due to some demand from people that were like, hey, why did you take that off? There's just a t-shirt is up. And I said, well, the hoodie that we had it on was a hoodie that was being made in Germany. It's like a really nice quality hoodie. It just takes too long to ship. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll find something in the United States. But this hoodie is really nice. And the guy was like, I don't mind waiting if it's good. So I said, okay, fine. Okay. It's up there. It's $65. The reason why it's $65 is because the shipping on our end will be charged like $25 because it's coming from Germany. So it's kind of a bummer. That's why I wanted to find a hoodie in the US, but no other hoodie feels as good as this. So trust me, look at it. Equality is a false god. It only comes in black, and I made the text a little bit bigger. Also, IDG Arms shirt is my favorite shirt on there right now. Let's get into the episode. Here we go. Gina and myself. Why don't we talk about White Lotus? Because this is something that you wanted to talk about.
I love this show. So did you see season 1?
Yes.
I think this is better than season 1.
Carly wants to rewatch it because I'm like, you don't have to, but she's like, yeah, but I kind of want to. I want to rewatch it. Also, big shout out to my friends. I'm not going to say their name because I'm wearing their shirt on the show, and I don't want to hurt their business by them being aligned with white supremacists. So I just want to get that out of the way.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Look, that's so thoughtful.
I know, it's thoughtful.
That's very thoughtful of you. I didn't know white supremacists were so thoughtful.
I know.
Well, look at you. That's a thoughtful Nazi right there. I love White Lotus. I think it's one of the best. It's one of the best. People listening on the audio aren't gonna catch it. No. I think it's one of the best shows right now. It's just so funny. I love Daphne because she is the only person on an actual vacation.
Well, you have to say who the character Daphne is.
Okay. So there are two couples who are vacationing together, Daphne and Cameron, and I forgot the other, Ethan and
the two
Ethan and
college
the girl.
friends.
Yeah. So the two guys are college friends. I think they were roommates or something. And Cameron is supposed to be like the jerk who presumably comes from money. And he and his wife, they like act all lovey-dovey with each other, and they're always kissing and so happy to be in Italy together. And the other couple, Ethan and Thingo, I forgot her name. Aubrey Plaza, they have a very different relationship. So Ethan recently became wealthy because of, I'm assuming, some tech startup that became very successful. And so now all four of them are vacationing together. And there's this whole like subplot about how Daphne and Cameron are just these like really dumb people who don't ever watch the news, and Daphne doesn't vote.
Yeah.
Which is so based. Like, she's a mom of two, and she's so busy living her life as a mom whose husband just like provides money for her.
Probably cheats on him with her trainer. Right.
Which is why she said, want to see a picture of my trainer?
Yeah.
He has blonde hair and blue eyes.
But it was the kids.
Did you catch that though?
No. What did that mean?
What did the child look like?
The trainer. Oh,
so the whole theory is that she either subconsciously or purposely was showing Aubrey Plaza, she said, you need to get yourself a trainer.
Right.
So if the husbands do bad things, you need to just do your own thing to make yourself feel better. That's why I spend more time with my trainer than my husband.
Yeah.
And then she says, my trainer's so cute. He's got blonde hair, blue eyes. Do you want to see a picture? And Aubrey Plaza is like, those are just your kids. But the kid is very clearly blonde with blue eyes. And Cameron is dark haired.
Wow.
And she's not blonde either. So
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. I caught that the second time I watched it.
Okay.
I watched the episodes twice because like I want to catch things that I didn't catch the first time. Did you catch the cowboy thing?
The cowboy thing?
Okay. So I don't know if you remember the last episode, not this most recent one.
Episode 5.
Yeah. So Quentin, the little gay guy who owns the Palazzo in Palermo.
Yes. That's the husband of Stifler's mom.
Wait. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
She finds the picture in the spoilers. She finds the picture, right, and she sees the guy in the cowboy hat. And
that's
she's like,
Greg,
right?
Her husband.
That's why I'm saying there's something going on here with possible blackmail because he's feeding her drugs, he's feeding her like a male hooker and stuff like that. I feel like they're filming it and they're going to present. Because she signed a prenup. They have a prenup, I'm sure.
I think that there is a clause in the prenup about infidelity.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And so the nephew, who was just a sex worker, told Portia that
let's go.
He's about to come into money.
Yes.
And she's worth $500 million.
Right.
And so I think that Greg and Quentin are screwing her over to get half of all of her money, and they're going to be rich.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The show is very hedonistic. It is very gay. There's a lot of gay stuff. There's actually not a lot of gay stuff. There's some gay stuff where I couldn't look. And there's a subplot of the hotel manager who's a lesbian or has never been with a woman before.
Yeah.
Some hookers involved. And you want to know who my least favorite character is?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Least favorite character. Is it a hotel guest or a hotel worker?
It's a hotel guest.
Let's see.
And what's also good about...
Yeah. I'm going to guess. Your least favorite is Albie.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the worst. He's such a little
loser.
fag.
Yeah, that's a perfect word for it.
Yeah.
He really is. He's just this...
He's the kind of guy who asks permission to kiss a girl.
Yeah, and when he was waiting for, who is it, Portia, at the pool or whatever, at the beach, and she was talking to the other guy, and he kept on looking over, and then when he decided to get up and go over and be like, hey, are you coming down?
So awkward.
Oh, it was so awkward, and I love it how he, of course, fell in love with a hooker. Makes total sense. I think he's going to bring her back to America to get her out of her bind with her pimp.
Oh, I think that the hooker is just playing around on him just to get money.
This is a quality that is not unbecoming of a man to watch kind of female marketed shows. I enjoy the show. I think it's very funny. F. Murray Abraham, a great actor's in it. Michael Imperioli's in it as well. And it's just a bunch of different stories all match into one. And also you get to hear people speak Italian. And Italian's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
I would love to go to Sicily's gorgeous.
Yeah, I would love to go too. It looks really pretty. I mean, my family's not from Sicily. My family's from Calabria, but I've always wanted to go to Sicily.
I told Carly, I said, there are 2 places, there may be 3 places that are on bucket list as far as we go. We take our daughter because she needs to know where she comes from. Those are Italy, Ireland, and El Salvador. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
My father's side is kind of all over the place in Eastern Europe. So I don't know if we'd be able to like pinpoint one place, bring her to Moscow or something.
Yeah,
like
we want to bring our daughter to Korea, Italy, and Japan.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, and Brazil, even though she's not like Brazilian by bloodline, my husband's Brazilian ethnically. Is that the term? He was born and raised in Brazil, but he's Japanese and Italian.
Yeah. So. I kind of feel like every time I say Russia or Moscow, I just want this to happen.
I'm not going to do it. I do like it. You have the haircut for it now.
Oh, wait, do I? What kind of haircut is this?
Well, remember you got the haircut as kind of like the guy in Stranger Things?
Yes. That's what, that reminds me of, you're going to think this is funny, but there's this golf account on Instagram called Country Club Adjacent. And they're just these burnouts from LA who, they're heavily involved in the golf world, and they go to the Live Tour, which is the PGA Tour's like cool punk rock cousin that nobody likes because they take money from the Saudis and stuff like that. And Trump uses his golf courses for those events.
Oh.
And what they do is they have this thing called the Back Golf Challenge, where they're on a par 3 and all the pros come up during the practice week, because during golf tournaments, they'll have something called the Pro-Am. So on Wednesdays, it's a practice round. The pros are paired up with some amateurs or celebrities, people who pay to kind of play with them for 9 holes. It's really fun. So these guys are set up, and they're all comedians. They're set up there, and they basically make fun of the people as they're trying to hit, so they mess up. And they say to this one pro, Matt Wolf, they say, "You look like the type of guy who shows pictures of other men to his barber." And when he said that, I was like, I definitely brought in that picture of the character from Stranger Things, the Russian prison guard. And I was like, can you do this? And she got it close the first time.
Well,
Yeah.
It's a good haircut.
Did you want to talk about the one story that I wanted to bring up just before we got into the questions? Because it's kind of weird.
I almost wish I didn't hear this headline before you're about to say it. Because
sorry. Let's go to it. So this is from Insider, and I got to put the thing up.
I hate it.
What is it? A surgeon looked at 7 clitorises under a microscope and found they're packed with 10,000 nerve fibers. It could be a game-changing discovery. Now, first of all, let's just pause. For those of you guys listening to the podcast and not watching it, this doctor, this surgeon, physiognomy, he has pink hair, barely a beard, and pink sneakers on in a surgical room or somewhere. His name is Dr. Blair Peters. He's a gender-affirming surgeon. I don't want to call this guy a surgeon or a doctor. I think he's an activist. He's clearly... He's the first researcher to quantify nerve fibers in the human clitoris. Found an average of 10,800 nerves across 7 clitorises. Commonly cited research on cows found 8,000. Anyway, this is gender-affirming surgeon and nerve researcher Blair Peters. Sorry, your first name is Blair? It's like the parents wanted a girl so badly. Is the first person to quantify the number of nerve fibers in the human clitoris. Until now, sex researchers and educators have said the clitoris is an estimated 8,000 nerve fibers, but that well-cited number comes from a study on cows' genitals, which is mentioned in The Clitoris, a book published in 1976. Anyway, this Peters dude found an average of about 2,000 more, and he presented his findings at the annual meeting of the Sexual Medicine Society of North America in early November. What Peters does is he performs phalloplasties, the surgical creation of a penis using flaps of skin from other areas on the patient's body at Oregon Health and Science University. In a female-to-male transgender patient, the surgery typically involves clitoral burying, where the clitoris is moved to the base of the penis to increase pleasure sensations. Peters' phalloplasty patients make his research on the human clitoris possible, as they allowed him to study their clitoral tissue under a microscope to count the exact number of nerve fibers. This could improve genital surgeries. Of course, studying this, they say, could improve genital surgeries, but we all know what it's actually going to be used for, and that is going to be to push, quote-unquote, gender-affirming surgeries, gender-affirming care, anything like that. I think this guy should have his medical license taken away. Oh, but he's doing research which could prove to be valuable under the hospital, under the jail. This guy, pink hair, get rid of him.
Can we just back up for a second?
Yeah. He hasn't used his findings in a surgical setting yet.
Can we just talk about the fact that people have actually been convinced that gender has nothing to do with your chromosomes or what's between your legs? This is the clown show that we live in.
Why
Western
go through the
society.
surgeries then? Why go through the surgeries then?
Like, the fact that anybody has been able to convince anyone that gender has nothing to do with what's between your legs is honestly one of the most absurd, perhaps the most absurd thing that has ever come out of Western society. Imagine explaining this to someone just 20 years ago. Imagine explaining, quote, gender affirming surgery. Well, there's a 15-year-old who thinks that she's a boy and we have to affirm her surgery. So we're going to chop off her perfectly healthy breasts and give her hormone blockers or whatever it is that they give her. We have people have actually been convinced that gender has nothing to do with what's between your legs, has nothing to do with your chromosomes. Like, this is why people should not vote.
Do you know who actually is taking a stand against a lot of this stuff? Putin signs law expanding Russia's rules against LGBT propaganda. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday signed a law expanding Russia's restrictions on the promotion of what it calls LGBT propaganda, effectively outlawing any public expression of LGBT behavior or lifestyle in Russian. So to that, I have to say it. It's just... A mighty will, great glory, these are yours for all time. I wonder if I can pronounce that. Mogushaya volia, velikaya slava, tjova distonjena vis verma. I don't know. Is it good? Who knows? Okay.
Mine.
But yeah. Oh, so let's talk about, we won't go too, in depth about it. But let's talk about my Jubilee
I was hoping you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, and then we'll get into questions.
First of all, did you wear some merch?
I did. No, I wore Saint Wave. I wore a Saint Wave shirt.
Okay.
It was good. It says the future is family on it.
Can you want to just start at the beginning? Because I'm very curious.
I don't want to go over everything because without the context of the video, a little bit will be lost. But I'll go about, kind of, I get in there.
Aldo was there.
Yeah, Aldo Budazzoni was there, which is great. So I wasn't all that uncomfortable or nervous because he was there.
Okay.
And for all of you guys that don't know, we did a slightly offensive live stream, and Aldo was not in our studio, but he was on that same show. Wasn't John Doyle on that show?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Doyle was there as well. But so here, I'll put the camera on me. So I get there, and they say, "Oh yeah, take a COVID test." And I was like, "No, my name's Mike." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I'll walk around here." I get there, nobody's wearing masks.
Yeah.
Remember how they said, you have to wear masks while you're not filming?
My friend from Prager said that they didn't wear them in the last.
They didn't wear any masks.
Yeah.
Also, I heard that Amir was supposed to be on that episode, but they denied him. And I was like, "Oh, that would have been great if Amir was there, because Amir would have agreed with us."
They denied him?
Yeah, they denied Amir. Yeah. Anyway,
because he's black.
I don't know. Find that out. Amir, if you're listening or watching this,
racist.
You gotta sue Jubilee Media.
Sue that. That's a joke, guys. Yeah. Okay, it's a joke.
It's a joke.
Gosh.
So we're laughing. We don't want to be open to lawsuits. But so I get there, and a bunch of different people are already there, pretty quiet on their phone. We couldn't talk to each other because they said, "Hey, we would really like a natural and organic discussion to come out from you guys talking to each other. So don't try to talk to each other too much, and don't try to figure out where people are from." I said, "Okay." And then, we're told we're going to get started. We get mic'd up. It was really cool. And we go through the whole, if you've ever seen the Jubilee show here, I'll kind of do one in the background just so you guys can just see. I won't put any sound up, but just so that you guys can see what it looks like. So basically, I'll put the thing on right here. Oh no, this is Hassan Abi sort of reacting to it. But this is what it looks like here now for the people listening. So basically, you have two groups of people on opposite sides next to each other. So you can see over here, you got a group here, you got a group here, and then they come forward and they talk all up in these stools. So our episode was queer parents versus kids versus conservative parents. So you had queer parents over here, you had the kids standing over here, and then you had the conservative parents standing here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why was Aldo there? Is he not a parent?
He was one of the kids. So I thought there were going to be like 10-year-old kids there, but the kids were from like 17 to 22. So like Gen Zers as kids. So they had two conservative kids, and then they had two kind of queer kids. One was a trans. One is a trans.
So pretending to be a gender they're not.
I don't know. That one is the one that I wouldn't be able to tell. I would not be able to tell if he didn't tell me. But she was wearing a Black Trans Lives Matter shirt. She was Indian. He was Indian.
So a boy pretending to be a girl?
I don't know.
Okay.
He talked about, Zers talked about it a lot. He did it. He said it. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
The first question. So we're all standing here, and the first question was, she said every child deserves two parents, or a mother and a father. So of course we all step forward. All the conservatives.
Who else is on your side?
So it was a tall black guy named Austin. He was like a private security dude, and he wasn't even conservative politically. He didn't even really know what a political conservative was. He was just like a conservative parent. I guess if that's like religious or whatever, I don't know. And then there was a Latina lady named Carmen, I think. She follows you. But she was she was with the conservative parents as well. So anyway, the conservatives and a couple of the kids stepped forward, and we said, yeah, obviously. And I said something to the effect of, yes, I mean, this is just a display of what order is that forever, since the beginning of time, since the beginning of humans, there was a mother and a father and then children. It's the only reason the human race can forward itself and to keep itself populated or whatever, just something along the lines of that. And I was just like, every child needs a father and a mother for very different reasons. And that's all I said. I left it at that.
Yeah.
But then they had
oh gosh,
the disagreeers. There was a gay guy who was involved with, he was married to another gay guy. They had 2 kids. Then there was a lesbian who was married to a woman who had a kid. And then there was a girl who has 2 gay fathers. You made
a kid in a petri dish because you can't make a kid with 2 ladies or 2 guys.
Well, one of the girls was the petri dish kid. And I think I started a conversation that had made the girl cry. indirectly, because what happened was we were going about this discussion of, does every child need a mother and a father? So she comes forward because she disagrees, and all the disagreeers come forward, and then she says, I've never cared about meeting my mother. I've never wanted to meet my mother.
Lies.
I've never had the desire to meet my mom.
True.
So I said to her, I said, listen, I will never have the bond that I have with my daughter that my wife has with my daughter. That is a bond that men will never know, and it should be cherished. And I think every girl, every boy deserves that bond with his or her mother. I think it's undeniable. And I said to her, I was like, you really don't have a desire to have a mother, to know who your mother is? And she said, no, I've never cared, blah, blah, blah. Like, no one's ever going to define for me what a good parent is. And, my dads are great dads, a lot of platitudes, which is fine. And then the guy across from us with the 2 gay guys was saying, he's like, you know what? Like, I have a ton of great women in my life. I have aunts, I have cousins, I have best friends who can serve that role. And then the black conservative father said, no, it was the young Asian conservative girl. This girl is beige. She was like, wait, like, who are you to demand your family members or your friends to fill in the role of a mother to your kids?
Who's this girl?
I don't know. She's great. I follow her on Instagram.
What's her name?
I forget her name. You'll see it.
She's Asian?
She's great. Yeah, she's Asian.
Okay.
She's not good at math though, self-admittedly. She said.
Is she half?
No, she's full.
Like me.
Yeah.
She must not.
But anyway, yeah, it was very weird. And he was like, well, I don't demand. In my head, I wanted to ask, well, when your daughters get their periods, like, are you going to feel totally comfortable talking to them?
You should have asked that.
Right.
That's a good question.
Well, here's the problem about should have asking. And this was my major problem with Jubilee to begin with. And I'll end it here because I don't want to go too in depth, because we're going to watch it and we're going to react to it. And it comes out maybe next month or something.
Cool.
But there was a situation where it was a very heated discussion. And I think the discussion was, does parents' sexuality have anything to do with kids' sexuality or the kids' future sexuality? So I stepped forward, I think only because I said, yeah, I think because, parents look at their kids, they see a heterosexual relationship that might have an impact on them. If they have 2 fathers,
kids look at their parents.
Right. That might have an impact on them. Right. There's a nurture side of that as well as a nature side of that. And I think Aldo was saying, like, we kind of know that, the born this way thing is kind of like a lie. I don't think it's necessarily ingrained in someone that they're born with certain type of DNA that precludes them to be gay at some point, whatever. But, the girl who, I forget her name, but the girl who has 2 fathers, one of the kids, she said something because the disagreeers came forward, and then the black guy wanted to ask her a question, but then the director was like, no, time, move on. And I'm just like, wait, how, you're not going to let him respond to that? And she's like, nope, we got to move on, we got to wrap. So all I said was, it would be nice can we know how much time we have to talk so that we don't get cut off, or that we're not going to waste our time asking a question we know that's not going to get answered by one of the other guests. And she said, no, that's not going to happen. And I said, are you sure? Because it's getting kind of, and she's like, yep, don't tell me how to do my job. Yeah. And I said, okay, whatever is what I said. And I heard her kind of like scoff, like, so I go back there, and and the 2 conservatives who I'm standing in the circle with, they're like, dude, what was that all about? I was like, I don't I don't understand why we can't know how much time we have left. If we're running out of time to talk, that's not our fault. We don't know how much time there is. So it would be great that if we saw a big clock that said 2 minutes left to talk, this girl's talking for a minute and a half. I know, okay, I'm not going to get time to answer this question. She's not going to have time to answer it. So I'm not going to ask it. But instead, I'm like, hey, well, okay, I wanted to ask you something. No, we got to move on. Like, what are you doing? This is not conducive to a healthy conversation you want to, appear for us to have to the audience or whatever. So they asked the next prompt. I agreed with it, whatever it was, and I sat down. Everyone gave their reasons why. And she's like, okay, before we get the disagreeers in, I want to move on to Mike and just have him a chance to say. I was like, yeah, I agree. And that was it. And they're like, okay, let's bring the disagreeers forward. It was just like...
Yeah. So a mutual friend of ours who's been on the show, she says that she's been asked to do episodes with them for a little while, but she said she's always been very skeptical, not only of their editing, but also of their producing and directing. Yeah. So I mean, that sounds like, because they're very, very lib company. Yeah. They're very progressive, which is, I mean, that's fine.
That's fine.
But it's like, anytime. So it reminds me of just the press in general. Yeah. Anytime someone on social media or a company or a newspaper pretends to be unbiased, no, you're not. Up until the early to mid 1900s, there was no such thing as an unbiased newspaper. Yeah. That's a very new modern concept that was invented by progressives kind of as a psyop. Before that, every newspaper was very clear about who they were politically affiliated with, which party, which candidate they supported. And so it's like, Jubilee is obviously very progressive. Yeah. And I get the
they have the pronouns in the email signatures.
Exactly. I mean, I get the whole idea of the middle ground episodes, but like, you cannot expect a progressive company that puts pronouns in their bio to give a fair shot. Well, it was funny. People on the right.
It was funny because I think the guy involved with his gay husband or whatever, when the disagreeers came forward to talk about does sexuality have anything to do with the sexuality of the parents, have anything to do with the sexuality of the kids. It was funny because he was like, well, gay straight parents produce gay kids. I'm sure gay kids produce straight parents. And I said, well, technically gay parents cannot produce kids. And and I said that, and he was like, well, sperm and an egg. And I was like, yeah, that involves a woman. That's normal. That's the order. And I have a feeling they might edit that out. So that's why I want to watch it live and be like, see, look, I'm telling you, I said that. They edited it out.
The older my daughter becomes, and the more and more I breastfeed her. This morning I was breastfeeding her, and she was just looking up at me. And you don't know, but you kind of know it's the most precious thing in the world. I mean, Carly knows. There's nothing like it. There are no words to describe it. And the older that my daughter gets, every time I see some photo of an actor or a celebrity who shares that he and his gay partner welcomed a child into the world via surrogate, it makes me so furious. Yeah. It is so disgusting. It is so
what
heinous.
What are the women doing that are doing it?
I mean, that too. Definitely that too. There's another side to that. But these people have the audacity to call us the Handmaid's Tale. Like, you're using women's bodies and renting their wombs as if they're a commodity. Yeah. When the relationship between a mother and a child, you have ripped that child away from the only mother that he or she has ever known. Yeah. That is criminal. Mm-hmm. That is criminal. And I'm not jail, straight to jail. I'm so done with it. It has radicalized me. I'm so sick and tired. So there's like the original guy in Rent who played the protagonist. Yeah. He shared, Anthony something is his name. He shared a photo of him and his gay, I'm not even gonna say husband, partner, whatever, welcomed a baby into the world via surrogate. I'm looking at this photo on Twitter and I'm like, you're disgusting. You've ripped that baby away from his or her mother, and now you're parading him or her around as if he or she is a pet. Yeah. Like, that's a weird child who has had a very intimate relationship with his or her mother for the last 9 months. Mm-hmm. And you're standing there in the hospital holding that baby as if he or she is some kind of doll that you get to play with now and show it off to everybody to prove how, I don't know, gay and progressive you are.
Thank you for working. That's it. That's all. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
We'll take this child. Now, it's funny because there are two other parts that are the conversation that I'll talk about that they said spanking your child is...
Oh, no, not the spanking.
It was the spanking one. And I talked about this because someone asked it under the comments of the last video. or they said like spanking your child is necessary or something like that. And I hesitated, and then I went forward and I said, I was spanked. I always view spanking as, you know, a good, useful tool for discipline. However, my wife and I have come to the conclusion that we're not going to spank our daughter. Though I don't look down upon those who do spank. I think some kids need to be spanked for sure. And then the Asian girl came in and she dropped some knowledge. She was like, if you constantly have to spank your kid, it might be a little bit of your parenting and not the kid's fault if you constantly have to do it. And I was like, who are you? Where were you sent from?
You gotta send me her link.
I will. And then...
Is she young?
Yeah,
Older?
she's young.
Okay.
So, and then the lesbian mom came forward because she said, I'm never going to spank my kids because I remember that my mom spanked me and then I would fight my mom back. When I was 5 years old, I would wrestle my mom to the ground. I'm like, don't gloat about that. Don't gloat about that. And then she was like, yeah. And then I went to live with my grandfather and my step grandmother. She slapped me once and I slapped her right the hell back. And I said to myself, this is not a good quality for a lady to be talking about, like being violent with her grandparents and her mother. I mean, why would you just willingly put that out there? That's very weird. Just say you don't like spanking. It's very, very odd. I did not like that.
I don't know. There's this new thing. People like self-own. They love to self-own.
Yeah.
And they think it's like a cool thing.
You probably needed more spanking, lady.
That's a huge self-own.
Yeah.
Like, why would you share that information publicly to millions of people? Whatever.
They asked me at the end in the solo interviews, they said, describe your parenting style. I said, direct, loving, and aggressive when necessary.
I wonder what my parenting style is. I've never been asked that question. It's a funny question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, the other questions were weird. Oh, so there was this very, very aggressive, she was on the queer parent side, and she was just like I forget her name, but she was a very masculine woman, a single mother and younger.
You got to be when you're a single
black,
mom.
single mom, very masculine. And she disagreed with us on a lot of things until the prompt was something along the lines of sex education needs to be taught in school, or there should be an open dialogue when it comes to sex education in schools or something like that. We all stayed back for the most part, except for the Carmen, because she was like, okay, what age are we talking about these kids learning about this stuff and who's teaching it? Because I think sex education needs to be taught. I want to know the parameters of it. I want to know who's teaching it. I want to know what age these kids are. I want to know what they're teaching. So I was like, okay, that's cool, fine. So we all walk up to the front, the disagreeers, and I said, because they started talking about like LGBT rainbows in the classroom and all this stuff. And I said, here are two reasons that I disagree with this. First of all, I plan on homeschooling my daughter. So this question really doesn't affect me all that much. And the queer mom was like, yep, that's good. That's good. And I said, yeah. And I said, also, we all have TikTok. Never mind, we don't all have TikTok, but we all have seen TikTok, libs of TikTok. We all know that a lot of these teachers in the classrooms, they have agendas. It's not that just some Carol, some 65-year-old lady who's teaching the second grade and has to get through a curriculum. You know what I mean? These women with, black horn-rimmed glasses, pink, purple hair, they're spending their own money buying, pictures of Gandhi and LGBTQ and, the people in the West Village and all that kind of stuff. They have agendas. And what I said, because one of the arguments was from the other, like, we have to create a safe space for these kids to learn about these kind of things. And I said, what about the one kid who has Christian parents and who's taught Christian ideals and who doesn't feel comfortable and may not even agree with that stuff? What happens if he raises his hand and says, oh, I don't know if I really, agree with this? Now that kid is a pariah. That kid's going to get, probably made fun of by his classmates. The teacher's not going to take him seriously. Now you have created an unsafe space for this kid. And I think one of the disagreeers was like, you really think he's going to be a pariah? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, you're going to tell me that one kid out of 20 who doesn't believe with his teacher and the other kids are saying isn't going to be looked at a different standard?
They really don't understand how, I'm going to use the word how persecuted Christians are in our society, especially kids at a school. I mean, these people, they actually think that you will receive no backlash for being openly Christian.
Christians are the only religious group who are persecuted in this country. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
No, it is.
You don't see LGBTQ people going to Muslim bakeries and demanding that they bake them cakes. You don't see them going to Jewish bakeries and doing the same thing. They only go to Christian businesses to try and destroy them.
That's exactly right.
They just did it to I think somewhere in Virginia. This Christian organization RSVP'd for an event at a restaurant. In this restaurant, one of the servers looked into who the group was, and they saw that they advocated to anti-abortion and pro-marriage things. And they said, we don't feel safe here anymore, so you're not going to dine here. For the most part, conservative Jews, Christians, and Muslims all feel the same way about marriage. But I don't think that they would ever discount, a Jewish group or a Muslim group. They would only do it to the Christian group.
They would never, ever in a million years. Imagine if they went to protest outside of a Muslim mosque. Yeah. It's a mosque, right? That's what it's called?
Mosque, yeah.
Imagine what would happen.
It's just weird. You know how Michael Knowles always says, like, I never say, oh, well, imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. I just don't do that anymore because it is what it is. That's what it is now.
It's never going to happen. I mean, it just shows that it's a very specific, coordinated effort against Christians, which you start to really understand what Nick is saying.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into questions because
do we have some good cues?
We have some good cues. We also have some that I'm going to call out for pure absurdity.
Any thoughts?
There's already thoughts. Yeah, the first one, which is by an account that I like.
Who is it?
It's a Tradicon Catholic. He wants to know our thoughts on how effective Margaret Thatcher was as a prime minister.
I don't know enough.
Me neither. All we know is that she was a conservative leader during the 80s. During a very tumultuous time in England.
Right. And I know that I don't know enough.
I don't know enough. We don't want to pretend like we know and say that she was base or anything like that. Yeah, ask Gavin. Ewing Scott, do you have to pay to watch uncensored.tv? Yes.
Yeah.
Will you still upload to YouTube? Yes. Yeah. Well, here's what I was thinking. The episodes that we do the live streams uncensored, are we going to be able to put that on the audio podcast?
Question. That is a very
I think we will.
Question. Should be able to.
But then it's like, hey, if you're paying to watch our live show, but then you're not paying to listen to it, but it will be uploaded later. So
we could do like what Gavin and Josh do. They just upload a portion of the audio.
That's right. That's right. They do that.
Tease.
Yeah.
Well, tease.
Oh, here's a question from PZ Mersixo. How can you immerse yourself in your religion when you haven't practiced for a long time?
Oh.
Dive in. You're on the diving board. Dive in.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the first thing to do is to find a strong religious community. That'll probably be the best. So we were inquiring with some of the people at our Orthodox church on Sunday, and the lady said to me, she says, no one's ever going to tell you to pray. No one's ever going to tell you to fast. Yeah. No one's ever going to tell you to come to Vespers. Mm-hmm. She says, when you are a part of this family and you gain the Holy Spirit more and more in your life, you're going to feel compelled. You're going to want to ask questions. Mm-hmm. And so that is one of the huge pros of being part of a religious community. So I asked on Sunday, because I don't know what it was. Every Wednesday they get together. And I think it's just a night of prayer. Okay. It's not divine liturgy. I know. I don't even know if they can hear that like we can. They can? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys. Well, I would say it's going to end soon, but it's not going to end soon because even at our home studio, we're probably going to find, we're probably going to hear stuff. But that's why I think it's crucial. I don't think that you can really grow in your faith and practice your religion unless you're a part of a religious community. And I liked what she said when she said that to me on Sunday. And she was explaining how Orthodox fast every Wednesday and Wednesday to remember Judas's betrayal of Christ, and every Friday to remember Good Friday, basically, Christ dying on the cross. And it's not a strict fast; it's they just refrain from meat.
Yes. Yeah,
so things like that. And the Orthodox fasting calendar is very robust.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's something that we're like. It's definitely going to be hard for my husband, but. Anyway, so be a part of a religious community so that you have fellow, hopefully Christians to motivate you. Sirloin
Dinero says, is modern art a psyop or money laundering scheme? Not sure if this got sent twice. No, it only got sent once. Is modern art a psyop or money laundering? You hear that it is money laundering.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So basically what they do is you have someone who, let's say pays $20 million for Rothko or something like that. And it's the art houses and the art dealers who come up with the prices. They spend $20 million on the Rothko and then they'll donate it to a museum or something like that. So that's a tax write-off on that $20 million because it's a donation technically. So yeah, it could be some of it, but also a lot of modern art. I don't know.
I hate modern art.
I don't know. Yeah, not really. I'm kind of thinking if I have to use the bathroom.
Do you got to go
If
now?
I have to pause it, which I can, like we can pause it, but if I can get through it.
Or I can just answer while you go. I mean, unless you have to take your time.
I might have to take my time.
Well, we might have to pause then. We can pause.
Okay, yeah, people won't know.
They're not going to know the
No,
difference.
we'll come like right back.
Yeah, they're not going to know.
Okay.
You're
well,
not
the
gonna
audio
know.
one, no, you're not going to know.
Definitely not going to know.
Okay, so next question.
Okay,
So this comes from John Doyle, Yay 24 Stories. Looks like a 3-parter. Should America reforge into a monarchy? If so, how should it look? Any state religion, constitution? That's the first part. State religion. Yeah, obviously it'd be Christianity.
Yeah. So are we asking if we want to see a monarchy?
Yeah. Should we reforge into a monarchy? If
think it
so,
might be-
how should it look?
It might be really difficult to reforge into a monarchy because how would we select?
Well, here's the question. Hereditary or electable
Yeah,
monarchy?
see, that's the whole thing. Is if it's electable, then it's almost like
It's not a
It's not a
monarchy,
monarchy. Yeah, it's got to be bloodline. Isn't
What
it?
would the
That's
title of the monarch be? Emperor, king, duke?
I like king or queen.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the king. Yeah. If it's electable, it's not a monarchy. You have to find, how would that look?
I don't know. I honestly don't know enough about the monarchy as a system to be able to properly answer that.
Feudalist system.
Feudalist system.
Well, the second part of that was like, what kind of state would it be? Unitary, federative, the ruling dynasty? Would it be absolutist or would it be constitutional? I don't know.
Yeah, those are good questions.
This Constitution's worked out great so far.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been
No,
a
it
real
really has. And I
smash
say
hit.
that. It's just, you have this Constitution, you have these inalienable rights given to you by God, and to put that down on a piece of paper. And now they just work to get rid of those. Like, they just chop away at them. Second Amendment, no, it's only for hunting. It doesn't say that anywhere. Yeah, but we're also going to make. So this is one of the things that pisses me off. That there's a new rule regulation that's being proposed by the ATF. ATF can't make laws; they can only propose rules, and that's voted on by Congress. So there's this rule where it's arbitrary. So AR pistols. So an AR-15, we all know is a rifle. The ATF classifies any rifle that is under 16 inches in length. They call it a pistol, right? So it is not, it looks exactly like a rifle, but a rifle with, a 15-inch barrel isn't the same, according to the ATF, as a 16-inch barrel. So what they call these is they call them pistols or AR pistols or whatever. Daniel Defense makes a Mark 18, a very popular one. I know personally. And what they say is that pistols can't have stocks on them, because then they're considered short-barreled rifles, which are an NFA item that were introduced during the NFA, I think like in either the 1930s or before that, one of the NFA acts, which is the National Firearms Act, where you have to pay a $200 tax stamp and register it with the ATF. So you have that. So if I have a 12-inch rifle with a stock on it, it's considered a short-barreled rifle, and I have to pay a tax on it. Now, what gun manufacturers did was they would sell these rifles, and I could be wrong here, so just correct me in the comments. So what they did was they started selling AR pistols, shorter barreled AR-15s. They started putting, instead of socks, which are basically the rests that your face goes on and that it goes into your shoulder pocket so you can manage recoil. They started producing these pistols with braces. Now, with these braces were developed because you would put them. You're holding a rifle, you normally shoot like this, right? With the brace, it wraps around your forearm and you can hold it. And it was developed for, people in wheelchairs and handicapped people. But you can still shoulder it if you wanted to, right? So if you have a brace, it's okay. The ATF sees a short-barreled rifle with a brace and not a stock is okay. But this new rule that they're going to try and get put forward and get signed into law is that even if your AR pistol has a brace on it, even if you bought it with a brace on it, completely legal, it's going to then become illegal to own one. So it doesn't make any sense. It's like your firearm, your rifle can now no longer have any sort of shoulder support mechanism in a brace or a stock anymore. So, like, let's say 10 million people bought AR pistols, right, with a brace. So it's not a stock. They don't have to pay a tax for it, but they have a brace because it's under 16 inches and it's legal for you to have a brace on it. It's now illegal to have that. I bought it a year ago. Now it's illegal that I own it. Now they're going to make you sign and pay a tax on the brace, which doesn't make any sense. So one of the things that when it comes to firearms, one of the phrases that people will hear is in common use. If something is in common use, you can't make rules regulating it or trying to impose new rules on it, trying to tax people. Basically, the AR-15 is one of the most in common use weapons in America, in common use self-defense guns or whatever you want to call it. And people will say, well, they're not even fired that much. They're not used in, as many like homicides or shootings to begin with. Yes, so then why are you guys always trying to get rid of AR-15s in the first place if they're not even being used? And in common use even means if I have an AR-15 right there and it's just standing there for self-defense, I have it in my house, I want to protect myself against people who may kick in the door, that is being used. It's being used. So, like, we have a constitution that says that, we have a right to bear arms. Doesn't go into what, to whom or from whom. No, you have an inalienable right to own firearms, to defend yourself or defend the lives of your family members or fellow citizens. And then they just start to make all these rules and they start to chop away at it. I don't know. Am I in fan of constitutions? I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I don't know.
Should citizens have nuclear weapons? Should we have access to nuclear weapons, like the same weapons that that's
what
Tim Pool says all the time.
Well, Tim Pool is slightly right because that was the original intention of the Second Amendment, is to have its citizenry be as well armed as a standing army.
Right. Exactly.
Citizens back then could have cannons. You can have a cannon. Drew Hopkins said it here. You can have a cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can have an F-18.
Yeah.
The DOD won't sell it to you, but you could probably have one.
Yeah.
You just can't have like missiles on it or anything like that, which is kind of dumb. And there's a good documentary on Netflix about a Pepsi scandal that happened with an ad that's really good. So back in the day, Pepsi put an ad on television where they had a points reward program. Drink a bunch of Pepsis, you could send in points and you can get like t-shirts and stuff. And at the end of the ad, there was an F-18 Harrier jet or whatever they want to call it. And they said the Harrier jet, 7 million points. And nobody thought to put fine print under that to say Harrier jet is not part of this, whatever. So a kid found a loophole and was able to get the points needed and a balance of physical cash to get the Harrier jet. And Pepsi's like, no, it's clearly a joke. And he says, if it's a joke, why didn't you put any fine print? So he sued Pepsi. Pepsi sued him. They offered him a settlement. He didn't want it. He wanted the jet. And it's a good documentary.
Did he get the jet? Don't tell me.
Okay,
I want to watch it now.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm too... not small-minded. I guess I'm too dumb to know if a constitution is good or not. And it sounds good, sure, but the police, they break these amendments all the time. They break the Fourth Amendment. They break the Fifth Amendment. Not the Fifth Amendment, but police will always, not always. What am I trying to say here? I'm just so worked up. Police will continually
violate the Constitution?
Violate the Constitution. Yes. Sorry. Thank you, Gina.
Well, so now I lost it.
I should never take bathroom breaks.
Oh, so you know what? I lost my train of thought. Oh, it all depends on who's in power when it comes to, like, a constitution isn't inherently good or bad. Right. It depends on who's in power.
Like, there are sheriff's departments who will say, well, we're not going to enforce something like that because we enforce the Constitution. The Constitution says you're not going to violate this right or whatever, so they won't do it.
Yeah,
I guess that's true, but
and it also depends on, like,
lucky citizens who live under that sheriff. What happens to the citizens who don't? Yeah, I mean, there are sheriffs and there are law enforcement entities out there all the time that says we're not going to enforce these ATF regulations.
Yeah,
we're not going to do that. We're not going to go serve warrants to these people who bought weapons that were completely legal at the time, and because of a fucking rule are going to be deemed illegal overnight and be made into felons. It's dumb. Okay. Rachel Reverie, what to do if your rural town doesn't have a lot of church options? I'm not in love with them. You just got to find one. You just got to drive to it. I drove 40 minutes to my church this morning, to the new church.
Yeah. How is that?
It was great. I went to mass this morning.
Yeah.
Bloated.
A little bloated. Did you eat something weird?
Yeah.
What'd you eat?
I don't want to tell you because then you're going to.
Did you McDonald's?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Just once.
I'll tell Ajax will be proud of you.
I have it once a week. I like McChickens. I only have it when we come here.
McChickens are good.
I only have it when we come here.
I say McChicken is like one of the best things that you can get.
I get 2 of them with extra pickles. It's $3. It's fine.
It's okay. You avoided you didn't avoid the seed oils, but you avoided the fries.
Really. That's what killed me. I had oh my God, on the way to the airport, on the way back home, I had breakfast at the hotel, whatever.
Did you come back on Sunday or Monday? Okay.
I also didn't sleep. This is a bunch of stuff that happened. Sleep is so important. You guys get your sleep. I slept like 4 hours that night. I woke up, I had breakfast, gluten-free toast, eggs, and bacon. Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm in the shuttle to the airport. I'm like, oh God, I don't feel good. And then I'm standing in the line for TSA and I'm like,
Oh no.
I might throw up. I just might. I don't know why. And Carly was like, yeah, it's probably a bit of anxiety. Like you having to fly, you didn't sleep. You probably had a bunch of seed oils and canola oil in your breakfast. It probably wasn't good. I was like, yeah, it was all that. It was not fun for like, once I got through TSA, I was fine, which probably was like a little bit of anxiety just because it's like all these people. Oh my God, am I going to get sick in front of all these people? Where's the nearest? Oh, okay, there's a garbage bin over there. There's a garbage bin over there. That was me. That was my ride to the airport.
Oh my gosh.
On the way back. But then it was fine because I watched Bullet Train on the plane.
We were about to watch that the other day. Is it good?
It's entertaining. Yeah. It's entertaining.
The
it's
preview
like,
looks funny.
It's shoot 'em up, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, but there are no politics involved and it's good.
Okay, good. That's exactly what we're
Brad Pitt. I mean, how can you?
We just got a brand new
dislike him?
TV upstairs. So
wow.
We were thinking about watching Bullet Train on it.
You're rich.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish.
Mrs.
I mean, I am rich. We are rich. We're rich. We each have a wonderful family and we have everything we need. We're rich.
Miss Paganini says, how are you staying hopeful and sane during this time in our country? What gives you hope? Family and wealth.
Family and religion.
Love. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think... You look back at history and our country has been through way worse times, guys. Yeah. I'm not saying we're in good times now, but our country has been through worse. We've been through things just as bad and worse things. And I think it's so easy to get sucked into the outrage culture. And it's really, really easy to get sucked into the doomsday stuff because we think that everything's going so badly. But I mean, it's funny you carry that with you. Pepto-Bismol. Yeah. I mean, hey, there you go. You're prepared. Well, so it's almost like you have that little purse that Hermione Granger has in the last
It's almost like an aphrodisiac.
Harry Potter.
Who knows if this really does. Not
It's
an aphrodisiac.
placebo effect.
Placebo.
Mike just
Really
interchangeably used aphrodisiac and
vintage L Bean wax canvas.
No. I mean, like you're pulling things out of there like Hermione Granger would pull things out of the bag that you just wouldn't expect in there.
We're watching Wednesday.
Because she put all the spells on it.
We're watching Wednesday. We're not watching Harry Potter.
Wait, you're what?
The show Wednesday on Netflix, the Addams Family kind of thing.
Oh.
It's about Wednesday Addams. She goes to like this preparatory school.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
Camry Hall wants to say, anything you guys are getting yourselves for Christmas? No, I don't like getting myself anything for Christmas. I do that on my birthday. I might treat myself a little bit, but no. Christmas, I'm all about what does my wife want? What does the baby? The baby doesn't want anything. You get her a little stuffed animal. She's fine.
I'm really thinking about just wrapping up some empty boxes with some stuff in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She doesn't want any of the toys. She's at that age. She doesn't want toys right now.
She's taking all of the ornaments off the tree every day.
I'm surprised our daughter hasn't done that. You know what she loves?
I don't.
Loves?
What?
The bar that locks the door.
Oh, yeah.
She loves that thing.
Yeah, ours will play with it a little bit.
I'm thinking about wrapping that and giving it to her.
Yeah.
She'll
be like,
another
one. Yeah. Gina's daughter is very noisy. Not in a bad way, but noises like that.
Yeah.
That literal noises like that. It's very guttural.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. That's not an exaggeration. And then she'll sometimes, when she sees a dog,
yeah, my daughter's doing this cat thing now, where she'll be like, what are you doing? Are you upset? I lost it last night. It's this funniest thing. I lost it last night because what she does is we put her down for bed for not nap time. Nap time, she's great.
Yeah.
Nap time, she'll nap from an hour to 2 hours, knocked out in the bed. She knows when to wake up. Good. Bedtime.
Oh, really? It's usually the opposite for us.
Bedtime, she wakes up. It just depends. But I think she sleeps an average of 2.5 to 4 hours in her room. Mm-hmm. Then she gets up and then she falls right to sleep in our bed. So we were watching, we watched this movie Nope last night. I don't know if you heard about it, but
yeah, was that good?
Jordan Peele movie. It wasn't.
I heard it wasn't great.
Yeah. Anyway, we got through the whole movie. She was sleeping, it's fine, and then she woke up. We put Wednesday on, and she woke up, and she sat with us for a little bit. And I was like, okay, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. The LA thing and not getting sleep is catching up to me. So okay, let me try and get a full night of sleep. I'm going to wake up and go to mass, and they're still in there. And I think I'm trying to go to sleep, and after about 20 minutes, they start to come in, and she just starts losing her mind and running all over the house. Carly does a really good impression of me. She's like, shut up! I'm trying to sleep! I got this freaking kid! And I was like, she was like, did you remember what you said to her last night? And I was like, what did I say? She was like, you got really mad. I didn't say anything to her, but it was just like, shut up, you guys! I'm trying to sleep! I think it just reminds me of like Gavin, like coming out, be quiet. I got to wake up for school the next morning. Yeah. Or like that. Yeah. But when I am tired, I'm mean.
Yeah.
I'm mean when I'm tired. I remember she used to be like a little bit younger and she used to be flapping around in between us trying to sleep. And I'd just be like, just go to sleep. And then just fall asleep. And I don't remember it. It's like I have these like kind of not lucid
You're half asleep.
Outbursts. Yeah. I am half asleep.
You are.
Sleep deprivation is torture. You want to torture someone, deny them sleep.
Yeah.
Deny him sleep. I got into an argument with one of those pro-life girls, Christine something, because she used the word kiddos.
Oh, that's so illegal.
And I said to her, I was like, hey, petition to stop using leftist language like kiddos. And she was like, how is it leftist language? I was like, well, they don't want to say boys or girls anymore. They want to take gender away from groups of people. So they'll say kiddos. And kiddos it's like saying folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. To each their own. And I said, to each his or her own, or to each his own. She's like, well, there is possessive. So, and I said, no. Each is singular. You can't say to singular plural. No, to each his own. That's the literal definition of each. It's singular. And I said, listen, I got my master's in English, which I didn't. I totally made it up. And she's like, oh, so because you have your master's, you know more than me? And I said, yes. I totally make it up. But we ended it amicably. And she's like, yeah, well, I guess whatever.
It was so funny. So Kai, who's coming on our live stream this weekend.
Live stream Sunday, 1:30 or 2. Let's
want to do 1:30?
Yeah,
that's fine. Doesn't
1:30 this Sunday. Kai and Jaws on a live stream in the studio. This will be the last show in the studio.
Yeah. Oh, will it? We'll talk about it later.
You said you wanted.
But I thought we were going to move it after. Whatever. We'll talk about it later. What was I going to say? Oh, Kai. Kai just debated some.
We got to move it back to do the live stream. So we got to take it to the panel, the equipment, and then bring it back for the live stream, and then move it out.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So Kai debated some TPUSA girl about.
Oh, I saw Israel.
Yeah, and I just think it's so funny because when he was sharing all of the graphics on his Instagram story, I was like, I guess she doesn't know that debating is not very ladylike. And I was like, I'm just kidding. I was like, or am I? He was like, I'm just going to guess that you're not kidding.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay, that's funny. May from Mars, has there been an influx of people moving to Tennessee? Yes. If so, have they been liberals? Well, I know from the states that they're moving to, the majority of the population would be liberal. Just because, you don't move from rural New York to Tennessee unless it's really, really bad. So you get people moving from New York City, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, like blue cities, big blue cities.
Yeah. Well, the top 3 locations from which people were moving to purchase homes a year ago was in this order: California, New York, and Chicago.
Yeah. So yeah, liberal.
So yes.
You take a guess.
Yeah. So don't come to Tennessee. It sucks here.
Catholicism has asked a question, but I don't want to read it out loud.
Why?
Because it's just, if God didn't have a sense of humor, why does the penis fish exist? So I guess it's probably a real fish called the penis fish.
There's a penis fish.
Yeah. Hook and sinker. Not a question, but would you both need to... Okay. Not a question. I'm not going to read it. What do you think is the appropriate gym wear for women in public gyms? That's from Costas Rap.
I mean, it's like the same question. Like, what is a modest? How do you dress modestly? Like,
full on niqab.
Yeah, just cover it all up.
Yeah,
cover it all up. I mean, but in all seriousness, like, as a woman, what clothes, because it also depends on your body type. Like, I can wear things that other girlfriends of mine, it would look slutty on them, and vice versa.
Right.
Like, it depends
vice versa.
It depends on how quote curvy you are, whether you have very large breasts.
You say vice?
This versus what?
I say vice versa. You say vice versa? Is it vice?
Vice versa.
Oh, okay. It sounds like you said vice.
Vice versa.
Sounds German. Vice.
You say benevolent.
Benevolent, yeah.
Benevolent.
Oh.
You always get the V and the L confused.
Dang.
But as a woman, what clothes draws the male gaze towards you in ways that it doesn't need to be drawn towards you. And like I said, it depends on your figure. It depends on your body type. So,
Here's a question that I think Kai would obviously know the answer to. Not even a question, but I was reading some of the reviews from the gym that I'm going to join, but it's still under construction. And I was reading, yeah, no, it wasn't that gym. It was the other one that was recommended. Anyway, I'm reading the reviews. And they had the pros and cons list. And on the cons list, it said, not a good bathroom for posing. And I said, what, is that a joke or is that guy being serious? Do people take posing in the bathroom seriously?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
It's really annoying. It's really annoying.
So the bathroom is no longer to change or shower. It's where I get my good pose in.
Ever since Instagram was invented, that's like the place where I have ruined so many girls' pictures.
Why don't just have a separate space for posing? You call it the pose zone or something. I don't know.
Because also people who go to the gym like a lot, some of them are bodybuilders or bikini bodybuilders, and they have to practice posing.
So it's a pose zone. Why not?
I mean, I guess.
Your gym, have a dedicated space.
I guess.
What's worse, having a pose zone or having the lunk alarm?
Oh my gosh, the lunk alarm.
Yeah, remember that?
How retarded.
Stupid. I think that was a Planet Fitness, right?
Yeah.
I think I wasn't a Planet Fitness in New York.
The CEO is apparently a really cool guy, though.
Who knows? Thanks for the question, Costas Rap. Real Ethan Burns. What is the meaning of... Oh, come on, guys. Now you're just...
What is the meaning of Christmas?
No, what is the meaning of life? Here's Christina Breeze. How can I best encourage / support my husband after the birth of our son? This is our first. Go.
The mom is asking how to support the husband?
No. How can I best encourage support my husband after the birth of our son?
Oh, like she wants her husband to support her.
No. How can I best encourage support my husband? No. It's not how can I best ask for encouragement or support of my husband. How can she best encourage or support her husband after the birth? No. He needs to be supporting you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously no feminist, but when we're talking about postpartum, like the first 3 months after your child is born, I don't think your husband needs much support.
No.
I mean, I will say this, though, about being a new mom and having a husband who's also a new dad, and it's a totally new experience. There's no handbook. One thing that Emily Stanwyck told me, she says, there are a lot of things that she says, my husband, all husbands will complain about, like things that are difficult with the baby when the baby first arrives. And as a mom, you're hearing it and you're like, that's difficult to you? You have no idea what I've been through. But Emily told me something wise. She says, you have to realize that there are a lot of things for the father and the husband that are difficult for them.
Yes.
That may be easy for you. She said, so a lot of times, like, there are times when you do have to just listen and hear. Yeah. I hear that it's difficult for you.
Yeah. You know? I would also probably, based on my life, I would probably, at least for the husbands out there, to try to, I know you guys have things that you want to do. I know you guys have personal time that you want to have. I know you guys want to go hang out with your friends, but it's different now. It's kind of different. So you try to make yourself as available to your wife as possible. Because I remember, this is the woman who's waking up that needs to breastfeed or that needs to feed your child. If you can, do the midnight bottle, do the 2 o'clock in the morning bottle, let your wife sleep. I mean, I'm telling you, she might not even thank you for it, but she will show appreciation. I will tell you that.
There's a lot of red pill dudes in the manosphere who are on Twitter a lot that say that a man shouldn't be helping because traditionally a woman had help because of the tribe. The aunts, the sisters,
but
the
we don't live in that world anymore.
Exactly. I'm like, that's sorry.
I wish.
Sorry, but we don't live in that world anymore. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a husband helping.
Yeah. Our closest relatives are 13 and a half hours away. Those are our closest relatives.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Yeah. In a perfect world, had we stayed in New York, yeah, sure, I'd have a little bit of help from my grandmother, from maybe, from my cousins or stuff like that, from her mom. Yeah. But no, we don't have that. So I can't just be like, well, woman's job, cool. Yeah. I'm out of here. I'm going to go play golf 4 times a week.
Yeah. And some of these manosphere guys are actually like, yeah, that's not your job as a husband. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
First of all, are you married? First of all, are you married yourself?
They usually, like the guys that I've seen, they call themselves a patriarch. They have multiple kids. And
How old are their kids? Are your kids old enough now where you really don't have to put yourself in that frame of mind of having a newborn? Or are your kids like 10, 12, 15 years old where you're just like, yeah, I don't need to do anything because they're grown up?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't like that whole narrative. Like, there's nothing wrong with a father. And plus, like, a good husband and father wants to help, Yeah. And there's nothing emasculating about helping your wife. Like,
I got to tell you, listen, something I do, I might get flamed for this. Who knows? I do the dishes in the house. I do the dishes.
My husband does too, yeah.
Well, my wife does all of the cooking, virtually all the cooking. Yeah. So guess what? If I want to give her a moment to relax, give her a moment to relax. I like cleaning the dishes. It's almost therapeutic for me because I can be quiet and I have hot scalding water on my hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a give and take. Like last night, for example, my husband bathed our daughter while I cleaned the kitchen. I cooked last night, so I did both. But it's always a trade off. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where there's a lot of stuff online about, it's always the extreme. There's a lot of stuff online about the trad wife. There's a lot of stuff online about the masculine man. And it's like, you know what? In theory and in practice are two totally different things.
I agree.
You know?
It's weird. I heard Candace talk about, I heard her on her show this morning. I think it was yesterday's show when she was talking about how she doesn't yell in her house. I mean, I don't know if she does or not. You might have more
Candace?
information. Yeah.
I've never heard her yell in the house.
Exactly. So she says, my husband and I don't yell at each other in the house. If I do want to yell, I'll go do a workout or I'll go take a walk or something, but we're not going to yell at each other in front of our house. And I've noticed, and she says, spouses yelling at each other, it's not that it's bad. It's probably not good, but if you guys are having a very involved and very, not even heated conversation, but passions are inflamed and stuff, that's not bad. It's not negative. When it becomes negative is when you're doing it in front of your kids.
Yeah.
And I've realized that we've done that a couple times. And, my wife's probably like, don't stop talking about our personal life. But it's just like as a lesson to other parents out there, people who are expecting kids, I can look back on the last time that it happened and just like, oh yeah, that's probably not good. We should maybe not do that. So I'm going to try to be actively better. And I mean, my wife knows that I have like a hairpin, trigger kind of to anger or to excitedness that I probably have to work on a lot.
I have that. My husband's opposite. My husband's very patient. I mean, I think it's all the jujitsu. Like it just makes him very patient.
I'm you, she's him. Yeah.
But I'm someone who like, it's easy for me to get angry. So my husband and I decided, I mean, this is more on me. Like we're not going to yell.
Yeah. I mean,
daughter,
I looked over
which we're human,
and I saw my daughter's face who doesn't know what's happening, but she's kind of like, she's not, over there crying like, stop yelling at mom. She's not doing that, obviously. But
she knows something's different.
She knows like, okay, what's going on here? I'm going to go play with my cat and throw the fish in the corner. Yeah. We got her a fish, by the way. It's called
got her a fish?
Mimi fish. It's a betta fish.
Oh.
Yabo Mikwayaji wants to know, do you believe Ye's stance on the Jews is in line with the Catholic Church? There have been, like John Paul II, and I know post-Vatican II, there have been a bunch of encyclicals and popes talking about the fact like, the Jews are our spiritual brethren, blah, 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 blah. We got to be nice to them, kind of. And then there have been some base popes who've been like, nah, man, those dudes, they're not our friends. They don't believe in Christ. They say that he's in hell, drowning in excrement and human, whatever. So I don't know. I am not educated enough to have a stance on that. So as far as like the stance on Jews, as far as the Catholic Church, Ye's not Catholic. Says he loves everybody. So who knows?
There was an interesting part of Ye and Nick on Gavin's show where Nick, he didn't get to expound on it much, but he said something to the effect of the rise of atheism in our society is a direct result of...
Yeah, well, and Gavin was kind of trying. I don't know if a lot of the comments were like, "Oh, Gavin's now controlled. He's now bowing to the Jews." And I was like, I don't know if he's trying to do that.
They said
Gavin
that?
Gavin is more of a, I think, more of a culture philosopher than he is a religious one. So I think when he was trying to lay the blame on a lot of secular liberalism, liberal elitism and stuff like that, not necessarily on the Jewish people. But, he was saying, the Jewish people who are just nominally Jewish, they're not even Jewish. And Nick was like, well, they kind of are, because that's how they identify.
Bloodline.
Yeah, they don't. He's like, Nick is saying like, Jews aren't saying that they're not Jew. What I can't do a good Nick impression. What I'm saying is, I shouldn't do a good Nick impression.
I can almost do his fingers, but it's hard.
Yeah, but what Gavin was saying, like nominal Jews or secular Jews tend to be more atheist than anything. It was like, well, how can you be atheist and then the next second say, well, I'm ethnically Jewish or whatever? That doesn't make sense. I've never liked that argument. I feel like it's a cop-out. If you're Jewish, right? Don't say you're Jewish if you're not Jewish. That's why I'm so confused on the whole argument of, oh, well, I'm ethnically Jewish. Okay, so if my father's family, for however far it goes back, they were all Jews, right? And my mother's family, they were all Catholics as far as they go back. What am I? Well, people would say I'm ethnically Jewish, right? Wouldn't they say that?
No, because it comes from the mother.
That's what I thought. But now apparently everyone's like, well, no, your last name is Lerner. You're ethnically Jewish.
No, like, I think because according, if I'm again, correct us if we're wrong, but according to Jewish law or whatever it is, it comes from the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if your mother was not Jewish, and if your father is, I think there's some kind of process you have to go through
if they want to be Jews.
Convert or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely through the bloodline
and also
of the mother.
The problem with it too is, I think Nick was saying, he's like Jews of today, they don't necessarily follow the Old Covenant, the Old Testament, the Torah. They don't do that. What they do is they practice and they draw tradition from the Talmud, and it's just like it's antithetical to what Christians believe in. So it's just, how can we say if we want to get along with them if they don't even believe the same things that we do?
So for example, like Ivanka Trump, she had to convert to Judaism to marry Jared Kushner, and so their kids are Jewish because she converted to Judaism.
Is that because they and I'll just say they wanted the kids to be Jewish, or if they wanted the kids to be Jewish, the only option would be for the mother to convert, correct?
And that's what she did.
Well, I have a family friend of ours, one of the sons, his friend Stephen, he converted to Orthodox Judaism. He was Catholic, came from a Catholic family, but he fell in love with an Orthodox woman. They got married, he converted. So now he's Jewish. But see, now he's Jewish. He's a Jew, right?
Yeah, he's a Jew if he converted.
Yeah.
I mean, see, that's why it's
very confusing. I almost want to get like a rabbinical scholar on here to talk to him about it. Like, hey, I want to understand more about this stuff.
Yeah.
We'd have to find the right one though.
Rabbi.
There
was I had a class from Professor Berger when I was in college, and all of the Jewish girls say, Rabbi Berger, because there was a lot of New Yorkers at Emory, a lot. Like we used to joke that Emory University was like a suburb of New York.
Yeah.
And there was I think a third of Emory is Jewish.
Oh, Jewish, really?
Yeah. So also a very large population of Jewish people. So a lot of New York Jews. Rabbi Berger, I have a question.
Oh,
Shut
God.
up. I hate that voice. It reminds me of like, I don't know.
I like that better.
I like that better too, but it's not because we like them. We like the Jays. Okay?
Sometimes.
I have some really great Jay friends.
What is it? I mean, is it Christian to have to like everybody all the time, or is it Christian to love everybody all the time?
Yeah, I don't think you have to like anybody.
Well, no, it's like, I love you, Mike, but I really don't like you right now. It's like that, right?
Well, that's that phrase about love. It's like you like because and you love despite.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a phrase. I just remember hearing that from that
I would love to read you this.
Set it up.
Can I read you? I don't want to like, I'm not going to say who it is, but I gotta read you this DM. I really do.
Which one? Have I seen it?
No.
Don't tell me it's that.
I'm not. No. This is an online Instagram DM exchange. Remember how I put that the guy called me like a beta right-wing Christo-fascist, and I said, is that supposed to be some sort of insult? So this person who follows the show, some things you say are quite mean, which I believe is not very Christian, but I also believe you should be able to say what you want, and you do, but what you say isn't free from judgment. Have a nice day. So I replied, so which is it? And then this person said, I am saying, you can say what you like, but what you say isn't free from judgment. Just because you say something doesn't mean it doesn't affect people. To which I said, okay, and? And then this person said, you're such a troll, dude. Laughing emoji. And I said, really? You're talking to me and not saying anything. And then this person said, I sent 2 paragraphs, LOL. To which I said, mean things shouldn't be said, but you can say them, but don't be surprised if it makes someone feel bad. These are empty virtue signaling platitudes, and I say that with respect. To which the person replied, yeah, fair enough, you're not wrong. So it's just like, what do you guys expect me to do? I try praying so hard, and it's every night when I pray after the rosary, I say personal prayers, and I tell God, I'm like, you know what? I probably got to be better with people, especially online. Don't be so quick to anger. Don't be so quick to judgment. Just try and, just be calm with people. And then I get messages like that, and I just want to be like, I want to be mean to you in love. Okay. Out of love. Tell me, please.
So I got a DM from some girl.
Yeah.
Right. When you know about this, but we'll.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Tell the story.
I got a DM from this girl. She sent me screenshots of the DM that she had with our Instagram, our podcast Instagram, and you were typing behind it, right? So she was talking to you.
I technically run it. No, let's not make it. I technically run the Instagram.
It's not a secret. Like everyone knows that you run it. So she was talking to you.
Is this Mike or Gene? I'm like, who do you think it is?
Okay, you don't follow the show, obviously, if you don't know the answer to that. So she sent me screenshots of her conversation with you. And then she wrote to me a message. She said, I just want you to know this guy's ruining your brand. I just want you to know that, she says something like, your intelligence is diminished. Right. She says, I just want you to know that your intelligence is being diminished and your brand is being ruined because of this guy. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm going to be nice.
Yeah.
I said, first of all, you have the audacity to come into my DMs and tell me that my intelligence is diminished. Okay.
But based upon somebody else.
Okay, so let me go look, because people don't understand that I have access to the IDG account too.
You do.
Okay, I can click in there anytime I want and go see the receipts, all the things that
I gave her the passwords.
All the supposedly mean things that Mike says to you, I can go look. So I said to myself, all right, I told Adriana, I was like, all right, so there's this girl complaining about something mean that Mike said and made her tummy hurt. So apparently Mike's a jerk. So I went to the comments. This girl, you know what she said to Mike? This, like, still to this day pisses me off. Word for word, she says, Catholics are just Christians who can't read.
That's what she said.
That was like the first thing she said to you.
Yeah.
And this dum-dum who has the IQ of a used tampon.
Oh, you went tampon this time.
I went tampon this time. And I went used tampon this time. Okay.
Never good.
So she has the audacity to come into my DMs and complain about you being a jerk when she literally opened up the conversation with Catholics or Christians who can't read.
Mm-hmm.
I find that to be incredibly rude.
Yeah.
That is so rude. And it's also, it really shows how low IQ she is, because what does she think that Christians did over the last couple thousand years? You think that everyone was literate? Okay, so everyone who was illiterate over the last 2,000 years, they're not real Christians?
Right.
They're not real Christians? Why? Because they can't.
Nobody was a real Christian before Gutenberg came along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's really okay, honey. Why don't you go sit with the retarded kids in the corner?
What did you end up telling her?
And so I didn't even respond to her. I just blocked her.
Oh,
I'm not even responding to these people. And I put on my Instagram page, I said, listen, if you are going to come into my DMs and complain about something mean that Mike said, or so maybe he made your tummy hurt, or I don't know, he made you feel bad about yourself. First of all, you are an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Mike is an adult. If you think that Mike is being mean, you can take it up with him. Like, I'm not here to moderate. I'm not your referee. I'm not your mommy. I'm not here to make your experience on social media wonderful. Like, if you really think that Mike says something mean to you, you can take it up with him.
I also have more time on my hands.
And I read all the messages between you and her, and she was a bitch.
Yeah.
She was so rude. And
her husband.
And then, her husband came after you too?
Yeah.
I mean, these people are not okay.
No.
And then she messages me and tells me that my intelligence is diminished and my brain is being ruined. I just blocked her.
Yeah. Good.
I do not have time for these people.
Banned
and I mean,
shunned publicly.
Almost every single time that someone comes to me and complains about you being mean, I look at the receipts.
Yeah.
And almost all the time, not all the time, almost all the time, they're mean to you first.
Yeah, I haven't.
And they attack your faith first.
Yeah, usually. And it's funny because, I have gone, let's say if it's a Protestant Catholic thing. I mean, yeah, I post funny memes, but they're just memes. And it's like, oh, I can't post memes now? Like, you're making fun of my faith. You get so touchy when I make fun of yours. It's like, I don't direct this at anybody personally. Like the one where it's like the kid going, hey, let me tell you what I think about the Bible. And then it's a kid going, well, I kind of want to believe the church fathers, like, over you. You're just some guy on the internet. And I put under, it's all in good folks fun. And then someone's like, well, you get upset when people challenge your faith. And I'm just like, dude, they're memes. They're memes.
I'm sorry, but we need to relax. They're memes. A meme is very different than going into someone's DMs and telling them that Catholics are just Christians who can't read.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two totally different things.
Oh, you know why? Because I didn't want to watch her video about some heresy on why, Christmas is pagan or something. I don't have time for that. It's not.
And you were so nice. You said you realize I'm Catholic, right? Like, I respect and listen to the authority of the church. Right. That's your faith. Okay.
Yeah, I said, which kind of is, it's not necessarily closed-minded when it comes to the doctrine of our church. So I said, I'm not going to be open-minded about something that contradicts the history of my church and the doctrine and teachings of my church. I'm just not going to do it.
You actually said that pretty nicely. And then
I watched 40 seconds of it and I was like, oh, this is kind of a trap. And most of it is probably...
I just can't get over the thing like Catholics are just Christians who can't read. So you're telling me that all the illiterate people who lived over the last 2,000 years are not real Christians? Like, you guys are just not okay. You're not okay in the head.
Let's answer a couple. When do you have to leave? You have a little bit of time, right?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Because we got a lot of... We're not even halfway through. There's some good ones. Here's a good question from Narik Shamat. Do you have any family heirlooms that you are looking forward to sharing with your children? Do you have any looms? Do you have any heirlooms?
Thinking.
I do. I'll start while she's thinking. Oh, camera on me. I have my great-grandfather's Omega Seamaster watch that was purchased in the early 1960s by my father for his grandfather while he was backpacking in Europe. That he got in... He'll watch the show, I'm sure he'll correct me, but I think he got in Geneva, somewhere in Switzerland. Anyway... That I was thinking about giving that watch You know, if I have a son, it would probably go to my son. If, you know, if my daughter is the only child that we have, I'll give it to her on maybe her 21st birthday. I think that's nice. It's a smaller watch. It's a 38 millimeter watch. Fits a smaller wrist nicely, and I do have small wrists. So yeah, that's one of them. And family heirlooms. That is a legitimate fairly heirloom because it's been in the family for a generation already. Obviously, like I'd pass on guns, but not while I'm still living. Things that still living, I would definitely give her that watch. Yeah. Have you thought of anything?
I can't think of anything.
Oh, no. Bummer.
Oh, no.
Slade Sasser, Mike, best Western movie. I think about this a lot. And I think my favorite Western movie, if it can be considered to be a Western movie, there's a movie, it's rather recent, it's like 2017, 2018 maybe, or maybe a little bit earlier than that, Hostels with Christian Bale. It is a devastatingly heart-wrecking movie. Yeah.
I've even heard of Hostels.
Really, really good.
Okay.
Hostels.
Okay.
It's really good. It's Western. It takes place, actually, I mean, it's in the West and it takes place in the late 19th century, I think like the 1890s, but it's about Christian Bale plays a American soldier who probably fought a bunch of battles with natives on the plains and that sort of stuff in the mid to late 1800s. And he is tasked with escorting a dying chief back to like his ancestral burial grounds or something to die there. And Christian Bale says, hey man, I fought battles against this guy. I've seen his people rape and pillage, you know, my people. I don't want, and you know, the colonel says, you're going to go because you're the best guy for this job. And it's a great movie. It's one of like Timothée Chalamet's like earlier like movies where he kind of has a good role.
Okay.
But what's the first part of this movie is devastating because who's the girl from Richard David Fincher, Gone Girl. Who's the main girl from Gone Girl?
Yeah,
I know she plays one of the lead actors where her family gets slaughtered by a different tribe in the beginning of the movie. Christian Bale and his band of soldiers find her, and she's shocked because she doesn't want to be associated with any natives because he's you know, but they're different tribes. So I think it's like Comanches.
Rosamund Pike. Yeah,
Rosamund Pike. I like her. I think the bad natives are the Comanches and the good natives are, you know, Apaches or someone else. I don't know. I don't know who like the good natives are in this movie, but it's just one of these other things where it's like, yeah, native tribes hated each other, killed and raped each other long before any white person ever stepped foot in North America. So it's just like, they're living in this utopia and trading with Asia and stuff. No, it's not what happened. But Mike, best Western movie that I think so far, I mean, I love Hostels. I'm not a big fan of the spaghetti Westerns. Just, I didn't grow up on them. My dad liked them a lot, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, okay.
Things like that. I liked Quentin Tarantino's Western. Django's considered a Western. I like that. And
I liked Django.
The Hateful Eight, I really liked.
I liked Hateful Eight a lot.
Bone Tomahawk was also really good. And there was this movie with, was it John Travolta and Ethan Hawke that were in a Western that were pretty good? Anyway, yeah. Slade also wants to know, I'm graduating college next week. Any advice for going out on my own? It's a rather general and vague question, but it depends on what you're doing and what you're going out on your own. And I mean, if there's any advice that I could give anyone for graduating college, you know, just expect the real world to be unkind and expect not to get everything given to you. You're going to hear a lot of no's out there. You're going to be turned down a lot. You're going to experience some heartache. So just get ready for it and prepare yourself spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say going out into the world out of college, the best thing you can do for, is this a guy?
Yeah.
Even if it's a woman, but the best thing you can do for yourself is get in really good shape and present yourself to the world. Physically, yeah, because you know they're obviously related, and so if you're in really good shape, if you're eating well, if you're working out, and you look good and you feel good, and you present yourself to the world as the person you want to be, I think that's a really good piece of advice for someone who's just getting out of college. Because at that age, it's really easy to not worry about health, not worry about, you know, working out a lot because you're young and you can get away with eating whatever you want. But I think if you start young and if you get the physique that you want now and the level of health that you want now, that's going to follow you for a really long time.
What's that?
And also, this was, I didn't have a tissue.
Oh, okay.
So I was wiping my eye with I think a burp cloth that I found in my purse.
Nice.
Another thing too, now's the time when you're in your 20s, early 20s, man.
God love you.
You know, find whatever, I don't want to say passion, but like make money, man. Yeah. Buckle down 110% on whatever your professional endeavor is and make the money.
100%. Why do people say 110%? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's a silly expression.
Oh yeah, I'm down on that 110%. Well, why not 120?
Yeah.
Say 100. It's like the absolute.
110.
No.
115.
When are you having Regis on the pod?
Regis is probably not going to come on
He'd
the pod.
be a good Censor.tv guest.
He really would.
Yeah. You got to pay for that, baby.
He and I were talking a couple weeks ago about Don't Worry, Darling. Did you see that?
Carly watched it.
Yeah.
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 She said that Olivia Wilde making that character on Jordan Peterson was hilarious. Like that was just awful. Like it wasn't comparable.
Hilarious. It was hilarious that they think that's what
exactly.
Jordan Peterson
that's
is
what she meant.
Yeah. Florence Pugh is a incredible actress though.
Have you seen this movie that she has on Netflix?
I want to see it.
What is it called?
Something about not the silence, not the order.
The harsh.
Not the omen.
The horror. Whatever. Do you know what it's about?
Yes, I do know what it's about.
What is it? It's about some old timey stuff.
She is
The Hallowed. Is it?
Netflix movie. Let's see. It's called
Florence Puff.
The Wonder.
Yeah. Do you know what it's about?
A young girl who's 11 years old hasn't eaten in 4 months.
What?
And she has been assigned to watch the girl with the nun. They have both been assigned to watch her in shifts.
Okay.
To find out how she's surviving without food for 4
Really?
months.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's watch it. We're going to watch it. We'll watch it tonight.
The preview that I saw, the clip that I saw looked really good.
Have either of you given thought? Oh, this is from ASAP Maggie. Have either of you ever given thought to the conspiracy that the Holocaust was fake, exaggerated to give a certain group, emoji, oppression points? Yeah, I mean, the conspiracy is, for me, the one that I'm most curious about is the numbers. Like, how do we have reliable numbers? Where do those come from? And, Nick said something, the people, or I don't even know if Nick or Ye said it, but, the winners of wars usually write the history. Some people say it's less than the most commonly held number is 6 million. And I guess most of that would come from Poland. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only conspiracy.
I wonder if there's really a really nonpartisan, researcher, historian who'd be, you can vet them and say, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. He doesn't have a side that he is either being funded by or that he has any affiliation to. What does that guy have to say? I mean, I listen to him.
But nobody like that exists because nobody doesn't have
everybody,
any affiliation.
I know, that's what's tough about it.
That's what's tough. You just have to find, what you have to find is who is paying that person.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their own personal and political affiliation. What matters is who's funding them.
Yeah. I like Gavin McInnes's Jared Taylor impression. It's like, well, rains on your birthday, you blame the Jews.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. If one was to visit Tennessee in January, any must-see towns or attractions?
Don't come.
I gotta tell you.
Oh, to visit. You're allowed to visit.
Yeah, no, but even to visit, because our in-laws are coming in, and then my mother-in-law was like, oh, okay, Sunday's gonna be the day, let's go try and, go do something. Let's go out and do something. Nashville, it's not like that city. It's not like a San Francisco or or New York. Not LA, because LA you have to drive everywhere. San Francisco, New York, Boston, even Philly, you can walk around for a while. You cannot do that out here. The only place where you can really walk around is you go to Broadway, and that's only because you're walking in and out of all the bars that are on Broadway. And I mean, there's the stadium that's there, but if there's a concert or a game going on, there's really nothing else to do. You can go to the Country Music Hall of Fame, which is good, but there's really nothing else to do other than everything's in such a very tight vicinity. There's attractions, there's some good hiking.
Yeah, I really like the Percy Warner Stairs. That's a great hike.
Mm-hmm.
You go up the stairs and they have the trail. I think it's 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
Really, really nice hike. Centennial Park's nice to visit.
Yeah, but other than that, there are certain areas, East Nashville has a lot of good eating. Speaking of eating, talk about the burger, because I really want to know how you thought about it. I only saw pictures and you said it was good, but
that was definitely the best burger we've had here.
Okay.
So
let's talk about the experience. So there's this place called, I really recommend this place if anyone's in town. Hey, Alo, if any must-see attractions, go to the Continental.
Yeah.
At the new Grand Hyatt in downtown Nashville, there is a restaurant, one of Sean Brock's places, called the Continental. And it's a very kind of, nice, I would say formal kind of place to have a real sit-down dinner. It's expensive, but they do have really good cocktails. And I know that they have a caviar and vodka bar that's next to the circular bar. So when you just walk in, that caviar bar is right there.
Oh,
that's what that is.
Yeah.
So you sit at the main bar, you can have cocktails, you can eat anything that's on the menu. But what they do make is they make 12 of these burgers. They call it the prime rib burger. 12 burgers a night. Once 12 have been sold, they don't make anymore. So that's the precursor. I've been there a couple times. I've had the burger. It's delicious. I want to hear a new perspective.
Yeah. So we got there at 5:30. because they start serving at 5. And then we sat down. I had very low expectations because Adriano had heard about the whole thing from you. So I didn't know much. I was just following him. So we walked in and we sat down and we got tickets. Mm-hmm. They give you a little golden ticket, kind of like how you would for the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
The Willy Wonka.
So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory actually is the name of the book. And so you get a little ticket and it says prime rib burger, da 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 da. And so I asked, like, does it come with fries? And he says, no, it doesn't come with fries, but they come with like house-made
chips,
waffle chips.
Yeah.
And I was like not excited about that. When I heard that, I was like, whatever. Because he says, and it comes with horseradish dip with chives. And I was like, that doesn't sound great, but whatever. And so they placed the burgers in front of us and I was like, oh.
Did they do the thing where they said, this is a Mill Creek Farms burger with such and such cheese and such this and this? Did they describe you your burger?
No.
Oh, they didn't? They described us our burger.
No, the guy was nice. He popped it down. He was like, man, I'm jealous of you right now. And I was like, okay, we'll see. Yum.
I love that movie. Easy
I love that
movie.
too.
Okay, yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Emma Stone's funny.
She is.
I actually liked her in Crazy Stupid Love too, which was a dumb movie, but it was funny.
Good movie.
Yeah. So then they plop down the burger and it doesn't look big. The burger itself doesn't look big, but I'm not like, that doesn't bother me.
Did you cut it in half?
I'll cut it in half. Definitely cut it in half.
That's what I do.
And it's cooked to perfection.
Perfect.
Perfectly pink.
Yeah.
And it has the little cup of the chips.
Yeah.
And the chips are like the absolute best waffle chips you could imagine.
Yeah.
The perfect thin.
Because they're not waffle fries and they're not potato chips. They're like this cross because the only way I can describe it, and it's inaccurate, would be like an air fry. They just look like they're fried in air.
Yeah, they're very light.
Like, very light, yes.
Yeah.
If you held it, it would float up in the air.
Yeah, if you held it, if you just kind of poked it, it would break. But it was like
the
perfect.
Horseradish is delicious.
Oh, the horseradish with the chives on it.
Did you like the burger?
It was really good. Even the little pickle on top. The bun was amazing.
Except for a sesame seed bun, it's really good.
It was really good. I'm usually not a fan of sesame seed buns.
Neither am I.
But the
burger's $15. When we went there, I ordered a Manhattan. The Manhattan was $18. It's like 12 or $15 the burger.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't pay, so I don't know.
What did you guys have for dessert? Because I think I told Adriano or you to like order all the desserts.
This is so funny. So we were... Adriano showed me the phone and he showed me the text that you said pumpkin ice cream.
Yeah.
And so after we had the burger, like we scoffed the whole thing. Both of us ate the whole thing. And the lady came up and she's like, do you guys want dessert? And we had the menu in front of us. And I looked at Adriano. I was like, do you want to say? He says, I'm too full. He was like, but if you want to get the pumpkin ice cream, like I'll have a bite of it. I'll share it with you. He was like, but I can't eat anymore. And I was like, let's just get the pumpkin ice cream. And I thought it was just going to be a scoop of pumpkin ice cream.
It was on the menu.
It was on the menu.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be just a scoop of pumpkin ice cream. And then you realize it's like the layers.
Yes.
And it's got like almost how do you describe the bottom layer? It's almost a crumble.
Yes.
And there's a crumble and then the coffee granita.
But then there was like some peanut buttery type of substance in there as well.
That was like
really
added
good.
a texture, creamy. And then there's a marshmallow topping that's been torched.
Yes.
Right? And so we sat that down and Adriano ended up eating most of it.
Yeah.
And there was like a little bit left and we were talking and the lady came up, are you guys done? I was like, yeah. And he goes, no. He says, I'm not done yet. It was amazing.
We had like we ordered 2 desserts. We had that and then we had like an apple. I think we had like an apple crisp or something. It was really, really good.
I saw that on the menu too.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic experience all around.
And I mean, the Continental is if you look at the rest of the menu, I'm sure, you see New York strip steaks on there for $70. It's not, it's not a cheap place to go, but the value that you get for that burger, let's say you don't order alcohol, let's say even if you just have like a house glass of wine, or if you stick with soda or something like that, it's a pretty cheap meal for 2 people, considering going out inside of a huge, modern hotel. Yeah. I loved it. I love that place.
I didn't know the burger was only $15 because I didn't look at the receipt when my husband was paying, but I'm actually surprised it was only that much.
It is. And this is a great question. Question for both of you. What was the 90s like from your perspective?
Oh, the 90s was great.
The 90s was cool.
I was born in 89, so I only really have memory of the 90s from like 95 to 2000. But it was like, those were the days. Those were the golden days. People weren't offended by anything. Yeah. It was just
apart from that, 1999, I was 14 years old. 14 years old. No, that's not true. No, 1999. I would have been turning 15. Yeah. So my early teens were spent in some of the 90s. And and I guess it's just depends on where you grew up, but I grew up in a suburb. So it was one of those things where, we waited on the bus stop by ourselves. We rode our bikes all throughout the town. I took trains into the city. I did a bunch of stuff, and you were able to have a childhood. Now I think it's, mixed in with groomers, mixed in with pedophiles, mixed in with helicopter parents, mixed in with wokeness, mixed in with the intrusion of our government onto our everyday lives. Yeah, it kind of sucks now, though. In some rural areas and some smaller suburbs or even smaller like communities and stuff, you probably are able to have a lifestyle similar to that if you're a kid. But the 90s was awesome. It was it was Sega Genesis. It was Super Nintendo.
Oh, Sega Genesis.
I went to church every Sunday.
Yeah,
you had a regular life. You watched MTV at your cousin's house and stuff like that.
The first word that comes to my mind was safe. Like you were able to do anything
safe.
as a kid.
100%. Yeah.
You could walk around the neighborhood.
And that's not to say that horrible things, didn't happen. Of course they did, but
It was just a lot. There's a lot more trust, I think, back then, and it was before social media, so it was a unique time. I feel old now.
No backs. When y'all move to censored, will you keep parts of the episodes free on Spotify? Yeah, I guess we can do something.
Yeah,
like that. We'll figure it
something out.
This is from like 3 different people. Carter Shaw, perhaps. Can we get Carter Shaw on the show? Let Carter Shaw on the podcast. I don't know who that is, so I'm going to say no for now. I don't know who it is.
Carter Shaw.
Why don't you say,
Sounds familiar.
Hey, why don't you check out Carter Shaw? Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Get him on the show. I don't know who that is. No.
Carter Shaw.
What's a way to get motivated to go back to church? We said that already, right? A way to get motivated. Just go. What's stopping you?
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
That's why I don't get the question, like, how do you get motivated to go to the gym? I'm like, you don't. You just go.
Well, if you want to get bigger and stronger and in better shape, what do you need to do? Go to the gym. If you want to get stronger spiritually and grow closer to God, what should you do? Go to the church. Well, not if you're Protestant. You could just read your Bible. This is from Zeta Delta Delta. Just a statement. Christ is king. One day we'll sing with angels. Pedos will be in a lake of fire. I agree with you, Delta Delta. Let's see. How does someone start an interview show when you have no public presence and are unknown? Right? Scratch. Oh, no. I guess that's an interesting question. Did we have a public presence before we started the show? Not really. You were behind the scenes, and I didn't have really any political sort of...
I mean, before I started, I had like my verified account. I had like over 100,000 followers.
You did go on Candace's thing. Yeah.
Like I had a bit of a presence, so to speak. But I don't think you don't need a presence. Like what you have to do to be a successful content creator is create content often.
Which we don't do, and which we should take that lesson a little bit more to heart. We really should.
Well, we will as soon as we move into the new studio, because it won't be 40 freaking minutes away.
Yeah.
But you just got to be consistent. You got to deliver good content. You don't need to be anybody. Yeah. Like it's one of those things where it's like you don't need a degree to be successful in something or to have a successful business. Like you just need to show up, and you got to just do it. Make content, release it. I hate this advice, but it's true. You have to be authentic, because especially now, all the social media followers, like users are very aware of who's fake and who's not.
Yeah.
And they can smell it from a mile away. Yeah. So just be yourself.
Can you guys try to get a Catholic priest on the show? Yes, I've been trying. I put out a bunch of emails out there. They don't respond. What holy places do y'all want to visit? That's a very good question.
Oh,
I'd love to go to Vatican. I've been to Italy, but never to Rome. So I would love to visit the Vatican. I've been to Jerusalem. No, I haven't been to Jerusalem. I've been to Israel, but I was kind of like, I had a cold and I wasn't able to go to Jerusalem.
I'd like to go to Jerusalem.
I'd like to visit the Holy Land and reconquer it. Oh, I was in my garage the other day, and I have a Jerusalem cross flag hanging in my garage, and there was this, I guess a neighbor who's walking by, saw it, looked at me, and kind of gave me this look like kind of like, whoa. And I was like, I'm married, lady.
That didn't go where I expected it to go.
What are some of your guys' favorite verses from the Bible? I happen to like, there's from Job chapter 7, verse 1. I'm going Old Testament here, but it's like the life of man upon earth is warfare. I thought that was pretty good. I can't remember how the rest of that goes.
I like the Ephesians 6, put on the armor of God.
Yeah.
I like that passage.
It's kind of like one of those things where, you have a military brand that's crossed with religion. They usually like to use those kind of lines because, you have a word like warfare or armor of God. Yeah, they kind of like to use those. Yeah. I do like those. What was your favorite way to have fun as a child/teen? Oh, pedo? Why do you want to know?
Check your hard drives.
Yep.
Check they hard drives.
No, favorite way to have fun as a child and teen. Well, like I said, when we grew up in the 90s, I mean, when we had barbecues and we had birthday parties, the standard almost at the end, like when it got dark out, was Manhunt. Did you ever play Manhunt? It's like Manhunt's like a hide and go seek kind of, but it's at night and it's in the streets. You can hide wherever you want. It was pretty cool. I don't know if like that's like a traditional game that kids play. We just called that game Manhunt.
It kind of does sound fun. We used to just do bonfires. We loved bonfires.
We were never really a big bonfire.
Yeah, I think it's a very southern thing when you're in...
Or people who live on the beach. They kind of like close to the beach.
Too. Yeah.
Thoughts on Islam?
Yeah, that's not a serious question, right?
That's thoughts on Islam.
Who banned them? I'm just kidding.
Well, funny enough, that's the person who gave me all the platitudes before that I read in the DM.
Oh, well.
Listen, they're bannable offenses. People think I'm joking. Like, do you know who Beardson is? He does a stream on Cozy TV. He's actually going to be at the panel. But I think he posted a story of like, would really love to get on the IDG podcast one of these days. And I was like, banned and publicly shunned. And he was like, what did I do? And I was like, no, it's a joke. But like I've blocked people who have asked to come on the show before. It's kind of cringe and weird. But it's like, we actually do have, someone sent me a meme where they had the Constitution and it was like, never asked to be on the IDG show or something like that. I thought it was really funny. I haven't seen that. I gotta put it up. But yeah, I don't joke. We really do ban people. I don't know what you guys think. No,
we're not joking. This is not a democracy. What the hell do you think this is?
This is from Jewish Noodle. Should we make Trump a dictator? My personal opinion is yes, we should. Well, I disagree with your opinion, and I'm sure Gina disagrees with your opinion.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in having Trump
I asked the question,
dictator.
when is the last time Trump said Jesus Christ or whatever? And someone pointed me as like, I tried to look. I looked for a long time, and I did find this one time. And then they told me the time, and I said, oh, he just read from the Bible.
When was that? He read
like a passage at a rally.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Because I think I remember that.
Yeah. And I said, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Lua Fletch. Oh, you usually ask good questions. This is a very deep one. What are each of your eschatological views? Like I'm not as well versed in any of that stuff. Like I said, give me like about a year or two. I'm just getting back into this stuff.
Yeah, same.
You know what eschatology is? It's like the study of like end times and stuff like that. This is from Saint Wave. Gina, how do you pronounce it? Hygie? Hygge, like the book that you're reading? How do you Huga? Mike, best era of movies. I'll answer this. Best era of movies? Swap questions if you like. How do I Huga? I don't know.
Baking.
Yeah.
Always baking. I like to have baking and cooking. Essential oils.
I like designing like houses and decorating, I think. I have a good eye for decor.
We've been trying to decorate a little bit more, and now that mom and dad have moved out, where I want to wallpaper the room upstairs and stuff like that. But like I would say the number one way I achieve hygge is by cooking and baking a lot.
Yeah. I get that. It's probably Carly, yeah. Best era of movies, if we go by Quentin Tarantino, the 70s was probably the best era of movies, where he thought, the 50s into the 60s were lame, and then the 80s became horrible in his opinion. The 70s, I'd have to agree with him. There's some great movies. I mean, you have Godfather, you have The Conversation, you have, what else? The Godfather? No, not Scarface. Scarface was the 80s. But the 70s was a really great era of movies. Flight of the Condor. Then you have a bunch of like really cool like conspiracy governmental movies. Some good horror. Really? Clockwork Orange.
I never saw that one. I was always too scared to watch it.
That's a good one. The 70s is probably a good era. I mean, for me, I don't know yet. I don't know. I think if I have to look back on it, and if I have to pick an era before the year 2000, it would probably be the 70s.
Yeah.
The Exorcist? No. I think The Exorcist may have been 1980. 80? Though it was probably filmed in the 70s.
In the 70s.
Yeah. The Omen was the 70s. The Omen's a great movie.
I never saw The Omen.
Good horror.
Yeah.
Good horror in the 70s. And good experimentation. There's a really good movie that I think a conservative person that I was following posted called The Parallax View. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's who's the guy that married not Anne Heche. Who's the wife in American Beauty?
And Annette Bening.
Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty plays this journalist who he's present at an assassination of a political person, at like a senator or something like that. And he finds the agency who hired the assassin. It's like this government agency who brainwashes people. It's a really good movie. It's called The Parallax View. Go check it out. It's really, really cool.
Wait, here's a quick hack for Hygge. Okay. On Netflix, there's a fireplace video.
Oh, really?
Have you seen that one? All you have to type in is fireplace, and it's just a camera on a real fire with the sounds for a full hour. So if you don't have a fireplace in your home, or if it's not like cold enough to put on a fire, but you still want to have a fire feel, just slap that on Netflix, and it's the crackling. And
really? You hear the crackling's good. I like crackling.
Yeah, it sounds, well, because it's a real fire. It's just a fire playing on your TV.
Okay, let's do a couple more, and then we can get the hell out of here. Do you think the normie conservative influencers, i.e. Ben Shapiro, are net positive or negative? I mean, we've talked about this. They're probably, now I don't know. Now I don't know so much.
I would still say a net positive.
Sure.
I just think that there's some serious reform that needs to happen in Con Inc.
Yeah. This is Alec Van says, I don't have a question, but praying the rosary in the sauna is goated. Been doing it recently and recommend. Oh, cool. Aaron Gobra, I've seen you ask questions. I've seen you like posts. I've seen you comment on stuff. This is great. Good stuff. But I'm going to flame you and drag you for this question.
Oh, no.
What's the origin story of you two teaming up for this podcast? I don't know how many times we've answered this, and I refuse to answer this question. Go back and listen to every episode. Go back to the first episode, because I'm pretty sure we explain it there.
It's like the bands that get really sick and tired of hearing, how did you get to your band name?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Do better. Do better, Aaron. You're a good citizen, but do better. Andrew Tate on the pod? Oh, yeah, we've never thought about that. We've never, ever thought about trying to reach out to Andrew Tate on the pod.
That's news to me.
You know, and this is from Jake Zamora. Like, we've answered so many of your questions. Of course, we would want Andrew Tate on the pod.
It's
Why
just
do
that
we do this? It's
just that we hold our citizens to high standards. Okay.
Gavin and Anthony Cumia talked about this before, and I think the question was like, you know, Kanye West or Ye has been going on all these shows, and a lot of people say they won't have him on, and you know, it's probably bad for your reputation. And Gavin said, you know, would you have Ye on your show? And I think Cumia was like, yeah, what time? like when? Yes. And then Gavin woke up to, you know, after the Alex Jones stuff, Gavin was talking about, I woke up to so many texts and emails from 20-year-olds, you know, saying you should really have Ye on the show. And Gavin's like, really? Oh my God! Thank you for suggesting that. I never would have thought to have even thought of that on my own. Thank you.
I miss Gavin. We should call him.
Gavin's
when is he coming down?
I texted him. Because that needs to be the first episode. And he knows that. But now that he's got the Ye interview out of the way, he can come. Maybe at the end of the month. Am I allowed
to text him?
Go text him right now. Do you have his number?
I don't have his number.
I'll give you his number.
Would he get mad if I text him? I just miss Gavin. I love Gavin.
Right now, and then
I've only met the guy one time, but he's like,
oh look,
he's like the hipster uncle that I never had. Hi, it's Gina.
Well, you just asked for our addresses for Christmas cards. And
I don't care.
Why don't you text them? Just say, why don't you bring us our Christmas cards?
Hi, it's Gina. Just bring the Christmas cards.
Yeah.
When are you coming back to Nashville?
It's good. This is good podcasting.
With you. Okay.
Oh, you know what I did too? And I might as well just say this just because I think it's interesting. Wouldn't it be nice if we got a sponsorship from Athletic Greens?
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Because apparently our hosting site, I don't want to say their names, but our hosting site has a feature on it where you can add ads to the audio version of the podcast. So it just, you don't really, you get a list, it'll give you a monetization notification. It'll tell you a bunch of the companies that are offering ad reads. And they just basically, you can listen to the ad. It's like 30 seconds. You can add it to the audio podcast. And the last bunch have been from Athletic Greens, and they've been performing very well. So I reached out to their customer service person and said, is there anyone I can reach out to talk to them about a sponsorship?
I might be able, I'll ask Prison Mark if he has a contact.
Yeah.
Because I know that he knows so many people in the supplement world. Athletic Greens is a good product.
Well, I said to Carly was like, I don't think they're going to touch you. But
yeah, they're not. But I mean, they do.
I said, what is that? And she's like, well, they're just like reds and greens, but they're greens.
They're just greens. Yeah.
Does it taste good?
They're unnecessarily overpriced. So it's almost identical to the Opti Greens from First Form. It's just that
what does it taste like?
They taste like greens. It tastes exactly like what you think green powder would taste like. It doesn't, which is why I mix my greens with reds, because then it tastes like berries. But it tastes like grass, vegetables, and a hint of coconut, because they put coconut extract in there just to give it like the sweetness. It's not pleasant. Like Will Witt, when I got him on the greens, he texted me. He says it tastes like ass.
We don't talk about Will.
Oh, I like Will. I know.
He's dead to me.
He's like a real life friend of mine.
Did he apologize?
Did I send it to Gavin? I don't know. I miss Gavin. We got to get Gavin back on. We still have his beer. We have not. It wasn't his vodka. It was the.
Oh, it was the Stolichnaya vodka when we were. Damn, remember that was like March that war broke out. We've didn't really
And now
talk
they're doing
about
the
that.
TikTok dances. Did you see the soldier?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a female Ukrainian soldier in the snow, full gear on, doing a freaking TikTok
That's
dance.
a psyop. That's a psyop. She's not a real soldier. I just know for a fact. Like, they use those girls to try and recruit people. It's not real.
Right, which is almost even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
now
all-
Zelensky is Time Person of the Year. Like, he deserves the Oscar that Sean Penn gave him.
That's right.
Freaking crying like a baby on line.
Yeah, nothing says good person like someone who closes churches and bans churches. Wait, let's see. Hold on. Let's see if this thing's going to die on me.
Sav was on Tim Pool last night or 2 days ago, whenever we aired this. I got to go watch the episode.
Really?
Yeah. And then Bryson's on tonight or last night.
On Tim Pool?
Yeah. Russia, our holy nation.
I like this one, but then I think there's too many lady voices.
Is that, I'm sorry, is this stupid? Is that the national anthem?
Yeah.
Did you know that the Star Spangled Banner, the Red Army Choir,
You hear the hammers? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how long we could
the
play
Star
it.
Spangled Banner is the most difficult national anthem to sing.
To sing, yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's
I've
a
also never really
big
been
range.
a fan of that song in particular. I've liked not I hate Amazing Grace. I hate that song. I can't stand it.
I've never been a fan. I only like it when Andrea Bocelli sings it.
America the Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's a good song.
that's a good one.
What else? What other songs would you?
Do you like God Bless America?
Oh, I do like God Bless America.
God bless America.
Honestly, I think Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone should probably be the national anthem. Darn, I wish. See, that's why we need someone controlling these videos, because when you break out in laughter, I always like an immediate
No, it's
cut
a
to that.
cackle. It's not ladylike.
People like your laugh.
Why? No, they're
Yeah.
just trolling me to be nice.
Really?
Yeah.
I
because,
think it's hilarious. It
This
makes
is
me
what's
laugh.
really funny to me. All the things that people who like me say that they like are the exact things that people who hate me say that they hate.
Really? Oh, okay.
The exact thing, like my laugh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably anything else.
You know, okay, so here's the thing.
Oh, my hair. People who hate me, they say I have a terrible haircut, but the people who love me, they're like, your hair's so cute. I'm like, okay, so which one is it?
You know what's interesting about, so people know that I run the Instagram for the most part.
Yeah.
Very few people on YouTube think that I run it.
They think
you
it's
run
me.
it.
Why?
Yeah. So that when the latest short that we put up talking about how quickly America abolished slavery, a lot of people were like, I was responding to it, say, yeah, well, I mean, you know, within 6 months of the Declaration being signed, like, you know, Vermont abolished slavery. People were talking about, well, Mexico got independence from Spain in 1821, and in 1836 they abolished it. I was like, yes, that's like 15 years versus 5 months. I'm telling you. And they're like, well, listen, you freaking Asian immigrant. I'm just like, I don't even say anything. They just think it's you, which is hilarious. They're like, what is some Asian going to tell me about black oppression?
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a lot because you don't have a monopoly on oppression. And I guarantee you that my ancestors probably suffered a lot more than yours.
Such a week that Michael Knowles was playing this lady on his podcast. That's a teacher at Rutgers that basically laid out the framework that black and indigenous people all around the world were living in some type of utopia. And it wasn't until the white Western man came along that ruined everything. She was like, black people were thriving, black and indigenous people were thriving, and they were doing cross ocean expeditions and trading. And Michael Knowles was like, that's factually and historically wrong. Black Africans were not going to the Americas or to China and trading.
What do they think
But then
people
I'm just
were
like,
doing?
Attila the Hun's not white. Genghis Khan's not white.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many like oppressive regimes and cultures all throughout history who were not white.
This is why people should not vote. Like, you don't deserve to vote if that's what you
if
think.
that's the case, you don't deserve tenured teaching jobs. She's tenured or on the track of tenureship at Rutgers.
I mean, that's on par. That's like
Yeah,
exactly what
that's
you
right.
would
That's
expect.
true.
That's
Yeah.
like a prerequisite for being a tenured professor is to have the mental capacity of a used tampon.
Tampon. I like used tampon. Let's not use glazed donut anymore. That's kind of almost being
it's
nice
done.
because I like glazed donuts.
We're over that. And someone commented on Twitter when I said that you have the mental capacity of a someone said, I find, as a member of the glazed donut community, I find that offensive. And I said, I hear you.
That's great.
Your request is heard.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Listen.
bye,
So before you sing out. So this is probably going to be the last solo episode that we're going to do either
Here.
in the studio or on YouTube before we move to censored. So if we do another one, maybe. But You know, the censored show is going to be cool. It's going to be once a week mandatory and live call-ins.
Well, I mean, we'll do... Oh, yeah, you're right. It'll be the last solo because we'll do interviews and stuff.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. On YouTube. Yeah, so like our guests will stay on YouTube and your videos, whenever you start doing those, you talk a lot of stuff, but I haven't seen one.
We got to get it shut up in the room and then I'll do them all. We'll have the boys help us this weekend, set up the whole house. Kai
Schwimmer and Jaws on Sunday at 1:30.
I'm very excited about that.
Good, live stream.
I get to fulfill my dream of being a boy mom.
By the time you're listening to this, the thumbnail and the link will be up so that you can go, you know, get ready to watch that. My arm, it's not, I don't have big arms, but this arm actually looks big on camera.
Everything looks big there, though.
It does. Oh, well, it's a bigger
there because it's large because we're enlarged. We're enlarged.
I'm skinny, but I'm not skinny fat.
You're not skinny fat.
Yeah.
You're thin.
I'm thin.
I don't know if that's even the right word. Slender's not the right word.
No, because slender, you kind of have to be tall.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I think you have to, like the Slender Man. It's like tall, lanky.
Oh, that's like that's the whole.
Yeah. I don't know what I am.
I'm tall.
For a lady?
No, people always say the first thing they say to me, Kongman said it too. Gina, you're a lot shorter than I expected you to be.
These freaking people on the Jubilee video, the one guy's 6'7", and the other lady's wearing like 6-inch boots. I'm standing there. I'm the shortest one. I'm standing next to this woman. I'm shorter than her. Like,
is
ridiculous.
It the single mom?
No.
Oh,
All the conservative ones.
Oh, okay.
We stood together. We have to stand together. So I'm like, why did you have to wear boots?
Illegal.
I think my hair was like the same size. We were the same height with the top of my hair.
Okay.
But not foreheads. And I was also wearing Converses. I was wearing flat Converse. I wasn't wearing boots.
Do people in your hometown say forehead? Because it
depends who it is.
My dad and like all of his family on Long Island say forehead.
Yeah, they can. They say.
My dad used to joke. He said, "I'm gonna thump you right in your forehead."
Well, yeah, that's a very New England way to say it as well. Forehead. Yeah.
Forehead. Yeah, but they're not always from New England.
Yeah, I know.
That's why weird. I'm like, where did they even get forehead from?
I don't know. Well, it's weird to talk about accents because you get the Southern accent is a mix of English and like sort of like Scottish people moving down here, English people moving down here, and like French people as well. I mean, you get the people in Louisiana have like a Southern French drawl, Cajun. Yeah. Well, that Cajun's like a language. Like Cajun French.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But apparently the Southern drawl comes from maybe people who are from better stock in England, right? But them losing that sort of very, very sort of elevated English accent. Really, a very, very sort of proper one. This is the way that George Farmer talks. Oh, hey, Mike, how are you?
So
how are you doing?
I low-key love George. I love George. So awesome.
George is great.
He's one of those people who's like, he does not like to be on camera. He doesn't like to be front-facing, but he's just like, he's one of the people who should. But that's almost
tells a good story.
He tells a great story.
Yeah.
A lot of trips I used to take with Candace and George, and we just used to have the best time. Yeah, George and he just loves to take the piss out of people.
You should text him and tell him to come to the panel. You should text him. Just text him.
Yeah.
I texted him.
I'll text him.
Be like, hey, you should come to this.
Yeah.
Probably won't, but
but the invitation is there.
All right, now you can sing us off.
Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye.